I don't know. I'm gonna like give it to like a kid or something like that. Because I mean, I'm not gonna find any use for it. I'm gonna do something cool about it. I'm gonna find like a kid that loves Star Wars and just be like, "Here you go, bud."
Is it all the new movie stuff?
It's new movie. It's prequel. Well, actually, I don't think it's prequel, but I want to say it's original trilogy and new trilogy. Yeah, there's no.
I love Star Wars.
Shawn, when is your birthday?
October.
Okay. Well, just you wait, buddy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 34 of the Thought Patrol podcast. Oh my God, Thought Patrol podcast. We are quickly approaching on 50 episodes, and by quickly I mean not quickly because they were still 15 off. Oh jeez.
Yeah, 34 in. You think we'd get the fucking opening right, but nope. That's all right.
Listen here.
Another week of professionalism
Indeed,
at its finest.
At its finest. Professional.
Ooh, Daddy.
All the
Not yet. Dessert later, my boy.
What?
Girl, it's been too long.
Yes, it has. But let's let Kyle finish his opening.
Holy reunion. No, this is the opening, fam. I already fucked it up. There's no recovering it.
I got you. That's all good,
I
though.
think this opening was perfect.
It was.
I feel the audience is both titillated and intrigued.
Yes, they
Absolutely.
are.
It's our source of humor and the way how we speak. So they should just be used to it by now.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone that's a recurring listener knows exactly how we do things around here. So, and if you're new, welcome. Please don't leave yet. I promise it gets better.
Or no, you still can.
You're listening? No, you didn't get here by accident. This is fated. Stay, you'll like it. I promise. Free blowjobs.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, it's just like in a really small text at the bottom of like an advertisement with like an asterisk
blowjobs.
next to it. Free blowjobs. So,
Free blowjobs.
all right. So, like I said, this is episode 34 of the Thought Patrol podcast. I am glad you two could join me. These are your three hosts for the week, both me, Tyler, who's joining us again, and Shawn. So first, let's get started with an intro. How's everyone's been? It's our first podcast of the new year. Welcome everyone to 2018.
Woo, we made it. North Korea hasn't nuked us. Yay.
There we go. Yet, indeed. It's been a pretty good last 6 months. We have a small but reliable audience, I could say. We do get decent views on our videos, and I appreciate all of you that do tune in weekly and listen to us ramble and stuff like that. We really appreciate it, and here's to hoping we get an even bigger community for 2018. You never know what might come down the bend. We might have 100,000 followers by the end of the year, and I highly doubt it. But you never know.
Expectations.
Yeah, one of our videos is going to go viral. It's going to be highly embarrassing, but it will bring a lot of people to the channel. I hope so. You never know what happens.
Do you mean
I hope so too,
embarrassing,
Kyle.
or do
That'd
you
be cool.
mean erotic?
Both.
Well, either
Hopefully.
way,
If I was
either
going to
of
get
those
popular
things-
on something, it better be eroticism in one way or another. I want people to remember me by that.
based on today's society, generally one of those things will get you popular rather quickly, as we saw in 2017 several times throughout the year.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
fingers crossed.
Hashtag year of the titty streamer. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm gonna do squats for subs, guys, and then I get
Fuck
gains.
yeah.
I get gains at the same time. Let's go. So that's actually very.
The fuck just happened?
That's actually very appropriate for today's review corner because we're going to be reviewing. What was it called again, Shawn? Is it
Jingle All the Way?
Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So that will be our movie because we did not get to do it last week. So this is technically we're in January already, but this is the last week of 31 Days with the Thought Patrol podcast. So we're late, but hey,
the last one.
yeah, it made it
I was
the
on
last
the podcast before you guys started, I think, and then now here I am at the end of
welcome. But yeah, at least you got to make it for 1 week. We purposely delayed it because we knew we were going to be here today. So
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
So let's get started with everyone's week. How have you been, Shawn? How's last week treated you?
I've been pretty good. I mean, my New Year's was half garbage, but the Yeah, I had a friend basically stand me up to hang out with his girlfriend, so that was awful.
Damn, does he
But
not
then
know
I
of
had
the
other
golden
friends
rule?
come in to rescue.
He does not know
Bro,
the
on New Year's
golden
Eve,
rule.
dude. Come on, what the fuck? It was to watch a movie.
Before hoes.
Jackass. Yeah. But and even after we talked about doing stuff. But on the upside, like I did pick Final Fantasy 14 back up. I've been playing a lot of that, been enjoying the hell out of that. I've abandoned Destiny partially.
Good for you.
For the time being.
Everyone.
Yes. Good job, Shawn. Good job. My hat off to you, good sir.
So enjoying Final Fantasy, looking forward to the next year not being as shitty as the last one.
There you go. That's all we could hope for. Being in all forms of our life, we just hope for it to be not as shitty as the last year. So that's good. What about you, Tyler? How have you been doing? Living up in the northern part of Florida, or I guess closer to middle, whatever.
Central.
You know what I'm saying?
Central Florida, closer to Shawn's heart.
There you go. Was that the ulterior motive there?
Oh yeah.
Oh okay. You
So,
guys have had your
I've
sensual
been-
sessions. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm being left.
I've been pretty good. Work's work. It's always good stuff. Besides that, I just started looking for some more apartments now. So, pretty much my week's been revolving around a lot of adulting stuff.
Nice.
So, very boring. Very bland and all that stuff like that. But no, it's actually kind of cool to look into that and kind of working out my budget. Blah blah blah. Besides the boring adult stuff, though, I had recently been playing off of the SNES Classic that my awesome, amazing girlfriend got me for Christmas. So I was playing a bunch of those classic games. That was a lot of fun. I was playing some Donkey Kong Country, some classic Mario Brothers. So let me tell you the story about. I mean, it's not. I guess it's interesting. I find it.
I'll listen to you anytime.
I don't know if I believe it to a certain extent. So she was at Target doing some Christmas shopping, and I had brought it up to her in the past that like, oh yeah, hey, this would be really cool. I kind of mentioned like how hard it was to get, especially. And she actually has an NES Classic that she got from a relative of hers who had two. So I don't know how the fuck he got two, but
probably
whatever.
worked
So anyway,
just grabbed him real quick. I've seen people.
Anyway,
doing that.
So pretty much saying, these two consoles that were really or retro consoles that are really hard to get, I can easily play both whenever I necessarily want to.
Nice.
So that's pretty fucking cool. But anyways, so yeah, she was at Target doing some Christmas shopping, and she decided like, oh yeah, let me go over by the game section, let me see if it's there. Chances are it's not going to be there. And lo and behold, what do you know? There's one stuffed in the back in the display case, and she's like freaking out because she really wasn't expecting this, and I guess I convinced her enough that how rare it was going to be to find it. So she was flipping out from what she was telling me, and then she's like, she told me she stood there for like 10 minutes before she got help. She didn't want to leave, and there was no one in the area, no.
She's got her hands up, blocking the case, there's nothing here.
Right? She's like,
what are you looking at?
She's blocking it, huh?
What are you looking at?
No, keep walking, keep walking.
Yeah.
So, I guess she didn't want to leave the display case, and I guess at some point, I don't know, about 10 minutes, but a few minutes, I'd believe that until someone came walking by. But who knows? How those are, Kyle, those damn Target employees.
Damn straight. They're hiding in the back room. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Especially on Christmas Day.
But yeah, dude. So it's freaking awesome. My sister and I, because I recently I came down not too long ago. My sister and I were playing it, Mario Brothers, and God, I forgot how much of a awesome game that was. I mean, we were playing 2-player, so you just alternate every round, Mario and Luigi, and we were just having a blast. So yeah, I mean, just game based. That's all I've been really doing. I told you I finished Bloodborne, so that's cool. I'm going to finish the Bloodborne or the Blood Souls series here pretty shortly, and then I guess I missed the Star Wars podcast or something about Star Wars,
where we mercilessly shat on that film.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and finish watching that when I have a chance, but I just want to go ahead and give my quick opinion on it.
Nice.
I liked it, but yeah, there were a bunch of issues I had with it. I'm sure Shawn, I mean, I don't even have to explain. You just have to go ahead and listen to Shawn, because I'm sure Shawn hit those points. If I believe, the man that he is. So,
ruthlessly.
I fucking decapitated. I do believe like they can. I don't know. Like I want it to be good. It's Star Wars. You want Star Wars.
That's what everyone
to be good.
wants. That's why people defend it to the death.
Exactly. So I don't know. It still seemed like a Star Wars movie to me at the end of the day, but a modern Star Wars. So I'll leave it at that compared to the original trilogy. So
okay,
4 out of 5. I'll give it a little bit of hope there.
Yeah. 4 fully rendered. What are those things called? The little penguin things.
Porgs.
Yeah, 4 fully rendered porg pussies out of 10. Right.
Porg pussies.
I saw a tweet. You know that dude, Psychic Pebbles, the animator and stuff like that. He released a tweet. He's like, I can't, because there's like apparently this meme going on with Star Wars that people were saying, like, I don't know where it sprouted from, but there was one that's like, I can't believe that they actually used Carrie Fisher's corpse in some of the scenes. What a decisive way to do it, or some shit like that. And they had one that he did. He's like, I can't believe that they had fully rendered porg pussy or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck?
I thought you were gonna. That's funny. I thought you were gonna say something about with Kylo Ren, like his like shirtless scenes.
That
Have you
stupid
seen that meme with his torso being really wide or something? Yeah. I don't understand. Like, why is that a?
I think it's because his pants are really high.
He looked like raw dough. It was just like this flat, pasty, like the high school nerd chest. Like, it was nuts.
It was so.
And I've said this before. I like Adam Driver. I loved him in What If. He can be funny. He can be dynamic. He's a shitty villain. He doesn't. He does, and I don't blame him so much as I blame the director, telling him to be the biggest emo pussy he can possibly be. As a
especially in this one, he didn't seem like a villain in this one. He was just kind of there.
Like in that one scene, he's like, "I'm kind of busy right now. I'm trying to take a shower."
Caitlyn
Can
lost
you
her.
Call me later.
Caitlyn lost her shit with that, Tyler. I could not. She was laughing her at. It was pretty loud too in the theater, because we saw this in the theater.
I think you saw a snap.
But when he went to like, he like walked up and he's like, "Can we not do this right now?" Caitlyn just lost her fucking shit.
Dude, it's so funny.
They sound like high school kids calling each other, trying to not get caught by their parents or shit like that. Oh man, so funny.
Gosh, Mom, leave me alone. Just
I know,
trying
right?
to masturbate.
God. Yeah, well, I think we made the joke last episode. It's like, if you were like a little bit earlier, my hand would have been on my penis or something, man. You gotta be careful with this force calling. You never know. So
that's pretty funny.
But speaking of like these retro consoles they've been releasing, we got my father an Atari one, because he started games with Atari and like arcade stuff. He was like kind of like the start. But these Atari like retro console, it for some reason it just had a composite cable, so you couldn't use an HDMI. So we tried to plug it into the HDMI composite on the TV and it wouldn't work. What? It wouldn't give us a signal. Really? So we just couldn't get the damn thing to work. And I Googled it, and apparently it's got horrible reviews because of the fact it doesn't come with an HDMI cable, especially in this like time and age. So we couldn't get it. And it was cool because it had like 2 controllers, so we could have played like some 2-player Atari games and stuff like that. And it had the original like idea of the controllers being like the 8-directional like just stick and then a button next to it and stuff like that. But sadly, we just couldn't get the damn thing to work on the HDTV downstairs. And we don't have any TVs that have composite cables, so that's
those are. I see a lot of those too. I almost bought one not too long ago because I'm kind of going, like I don't know. I want to go through like the retro phase again. Yeah, and but
I understand. I just don't. That one did not work very well. It was like the Flashback 8 or something like that is what it was called. I don't remember exactly. Okay, but. My week's been pretty good. It's been pseudo busy. I started a new job recently. And I went through the orientation on like last Saturday, and orientations being the way that they are, they kind of like shove like these are company values down your throat and stuff like that. But I love like the videos that they produce to like try and either break the ice or get you like comfortable or something like that. Like some of them are funny or stuff like that, or they try to be at least. And
they try to relate.
They're just so cringy sometimes. So I had like 1,000 times more enjoyment just sitting there watching these horribly made videos than all the other stuff they're having us do. But there's like 60 something people there. So I recently started that job. Which is at Publix, which is a Florida like supermarket. They kind of started to move up into Georgia a bit, but for the most part, they're down in Florida. So if you live in either outside of the States or you don't know, or you're in the States in a different part, you wouldn't know what they are, but they're just a supermarket. So I've been doing that. What? Go ahead.
Are you still working? I'm sorry, but are you still working at Walmart then? Like,
no.
Are you working 2 jobs? Or
I'm no longer working at Walmart. Yeah. So.
Oh, all right. Oh, cool, man. I heard they got good benefits if you're with them for a while.
Yeah, they have very good stuff. I just need to get out of the phase of like that awkward part-time where you're like struggling to get hours and move into full-time.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you're going between school and all that. It's like you gotta look at what's best for you at the moment, especially wherever you're at in school, because we're all getting like what you're what right now in college? Because you've been in it for like a few years, haven't you?
Yeah, I would be starting my 3rd year, but right now I'm not doing anything right now this semester because I have a internship with one of my professors where I'm going to shadow him as he he's doing a research paper. I don't know. I need to talk to him some more, but I could like shadow him and help him research the paper, and I could use that to write on a resume. Say like I've assisted in research endeavors and stuff like that. So, because usually professors on top of just teaching, they'll like write papers or do reports or stuff like that, and that's another way that they like make revenue by like selling their findings and shit like that. It was something like that. I remember them talking about it at one point. If you do know, feel free to correct me because I don't remember exactly what it was. But so I'll be kind of like shadowing him and helping him research, which would be pretty cool. And the schedule's very flexible too, because I just got to like show up to him and then help him out and assist him for a certain amount of hours every day before they could write it off as like an actual kind of mentorship. So
cool.
That's doing good.
Congrats.
Yeah. Just again, moving on. I'm still just school sucks ass. It's all right. Yeah. Especially if you do something in engineering, you get a lot of science, you get a lot of math that you have to deal with. But I don't want to trigger people because it happens to me when people start to talk about school and college. I get triggered and then I revert back into a snail. So let's just move on. Forward.
So just we'll run back to Star Wars real quick. So what I'm currently doing.
We had enough Star Wars talk.
No.
If it's Battlefront 2, I don't want to hear it. You can kindly remove yourself.
No, it's kind of to me. I mean, all right. So have you been to Winn-Dixie at all and gone shopping there lately? Have you seen the promotions for Star Wars they've been pushing?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I don't know if it's just Winn-Dixie that does it. Anyways, if you, I think, purchase over $20 worth of groceries there, you get, like, they give you a couple of
the
these.
Trading cards?
What they're called, cosmic shells, but yes, trading cards.
I'm sorry. I have a Millennium Falcon one.
It's okay.
Actually, no, I threw it away.
I fucking need a Millennium Falcon!
I threw it away, I'm sorry.
Motherfucker. So, I'm currently doing this right now. So, and this is, I don't know why I did this. I just got really bored. And whenever I was at work in the mornings, we'd go and drive to Winn-Dixie. And the cashier, she works there all the time and she knows us and she knows the fire department. She's really nice. And she gives me like a handful of them rather than just like 1 or 2.
Damn, dude.
So I went and bought the $3 book, which like they rolled back and it's like $2 now. I don't know. So I've been filling them in and like I'm collecting them all, man. It's like fucking Pokemon, but Star Wars. So
nice.
Yeah.
Do they actually do anything? Do they have like abilities and shit? No,
they're literally just fucking cards with like a little bit of information on it. And then at the back of the book, it's a there's the light versus dark side tic-tac-toe. Yeah. So you can choose up to, so out of all those cosmic shells, there's like 74, 78 of them or something like that. All the way at the back, you can get on the light side and the dark side, there's 9 each. So 18 cards you can actually use, I guess. Or technically you can use anything if it's light and dark. But anyways, all the way in the back is what they have. It's like, okay, choose from here. And then you have like your field of play, which is this stupid little piece of paper or whatever. And it's just tic-tac-toe. That's all it is.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm gonna literally just fill this out, and dude, if I get them all, because this is what the lady told me. She's like, after they're done with the this whole push right now, where they're selling the the Star Wars merchandise or whatever, she's gonna give me like a bag full. I'm gonna fucking fill out this book.
Filter through that.
I swear to God, if I come down to like one and like I'm missing one, I'm gonna be very upset.
And it's the Millennium Falcon that I threw away.
Right, dude. I'm gonna be like digging in your trash one day, and you're like, "Tyler, is that you?"
Oh, I ripped it in half, but hey,
it's all right. The tape's a thing. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna like give it to like a kid or something like that, because I mean, I'm not gonna find any use for it. I'm gonna just do something cool about it. I'm gonna find like a kid that loves Star Wars and just be like, "Here you go, bud."
Is it all the new movie stuff?
It's new movie. It's prequel. Well, actually, I don't think it's prequel, but I want to say it's original trilogy and new trilogy. Yeah, there's no.
I love Star Wars.
Shawn, when is your birthday?
October.
Okay, well, just you wait, buddy. Just you wait. We'll be playing tic-tac-toe in no time, and not off a traditional board.
How skanky. That's fucking funny. I
like
Star Wars.
I know we sidebarred like the usual 5 times, but I just had to throw this out here.
It's an intro. We're just talking about what's been going on with us. It's nothing that serious.
All right.
Tyler's sitting there doing, hey, look, I'm going to find a worthy child, and I'm going to do something nice for him, and I'm like, fuck that kid.
Yeah, I like Star Wars.
I like Star Wars. Give you me. I'll treat you nice.
Aw.
We love you.
So besides that, the orientation and getting working, I actually have a pseudo decent schedule now where I'm not like working an entire night or early morning. It's like afternoon to evening. So that's good.
You can get some sleep.
Yeah. I don't have to sleep 4 hours anymore a day. I could actually like go ham. So
how would you handle that? Like, I mean, would you just nap?
You just take a nap. It's like a 4-hour nap.
Do you drink coffee or any drinks at all? Like,
I don't know how I'm alive, in all honesty, to tell you the truth. I like looked back several times, and I had days where I would not sleep when I got home because I had to do like homework or something. I'd go to school, come back home, go to work for the entire night, and then sleep when I got home from work at like 8 a.m. I was sick all the time. Like I was sick all the fucking time, and I'm still trying to get rid of it, and it's just because I didn't have enough sleep, and it sucked. But hey. It's over now. I don't have to deal with it anymore. And the schedule I still have helps for classes in the morning and stuff like that. So it's a good thing. It's a blessing. I see it as one. We just got to get to the point where I'm not part-time working 10 hours a week. So we'll see. We'll really see how it goes. Like Shawn said earlier, I actually got back into Final Fantasy with him because we've been looking for something to do together. Right now, there's not a lot going on besides a few things here and there. I know we still have Borderlands that we could get into. But I was thinking we kind of like made a bridge, best of both worlds kind of style. And if any of you have played Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, you may know that they do crossplay. So if you have someone on a PlayStation and someone on a PC, as long as they're in the same server, they can still play with each other. So we'll just be sitting in a PlayStation party. He'll be on his PlayStation, I'll be on my PC, and we'll still be able to do everything together and play together and still enjoy the MMO together. So we've been doing that quite a bit. It's been very fun. I love that game so much. It's probably my favorite. I haven't played a lot of MMOs, so don't take my word for this. But it's
I got Millennium Falcon. Number 31, the Millennium Falcon. Length 114 foot.
Is it like that holographic card?
Yeah, it's like a holographic. That's fucking awesome. Sorry to interrupt, dude, but
that was loud as shit. I'm gonna have to fix that. Actually, I don't know if that got that loud. I'll have to look at it later, but that was loud as shit.
Sorry, boys and girls.
Jump scare. So we've been really enjoying that. We had, what was that one thing we were doing yesterday? It was like a Fate, which are like these public events kind of, if you were like thinking in the realm of Destiny, except they're a little bit more like, they make more sense in the world around them kind of, and I think they're a bit more fun. But there was like one where we had to basically just slaughter all these types of enemies. But the thing is they spawn in such a high density in a small area where they actually spawned, and they respawn so quickly because it's an event. We're just getting absolutely fucking swarmed by mobs. And it's just, Shawn's too low of a level. He's like 10 levels below everything else. And I'm like at the level. So I'm a summoner.
Oh, God,
yeah, so I'm a summoner, so I can run, like, I have a pet, which is basically a really small Titan, which is one of the gods. And he's like a tank pet, and he can pull aggro and make sure that they don't attack us. But I guess at one point he died or something, and I have an ability where I could like spread dot to enemies in the area, and I did that and accidentally pissed off like 13 monsters, and they all just swarmed the shit out of us. So it was so funny. Shawn was running back to like turn in his pieces, and it's just him. You just see like 6 projectiles slam into his back, and he just fucking falls right over. Or even that one time where he like went out to go pick something up off the floor, and while he's picking something up, like 3 things to the right of him, to turn around and descend upon him and just like
straight up
him.
Bird dog. Like they're completely fucking placid, don't give a shit. They're hanging out, and the moment I reach down, just fall.
just descend upon him and make his day a living hell. That was so much fun, and I was laughing my ass off. If you follow the YouTube channel, we've been playing a little bit of Siege on the PC with some of like Hector and Jonathan and Tyler, other Tyler, not this Tyler, this beautiful man. And I put a highlight video out, so if you want to check that out, we have just our antics on Siege up there, so that was fun. Definitely enjoying Siege.
Getting it soon.
It's my favorite current competitive FPS game. Like I don't really like Overwatch that much anymore. I really like Siege for its like strategic and slower gameplay, and the fact that the time to kill is almost instant. Like a headshot will kill you from any gun, no matter what it is. A headshot will drop you. So you have to be very careful and methodical with your planning. The sound design in the game is purposely just fucking magnificent, so you can hear everything going on around you. And a lot of the times, rounds end up turning into everyone sitting still, sound whoring, waiting for the enemy team to approach, basically. So we've been playing a lot of that on PC. Just definitely a fun game, and I know it's made like the biggest comeback in gaming history, because when it first came out, no one really liked it. It didn't really get a lot of growth, but as they've fixed the game and put out a bunch of new operators, people have swarmed to it, and it's got over 100,000 concurrent users now. So it's just super fun game. I'm sure you've all heard of it if you're out there and if you're even slightly into gaming. You know about it, so we've been enjoying that quite a bit. And besides that, in Final Fantasy, not really much. I've dabbled a bit more in Assassin's Creed Origins on the PC, and I really like this game. Like, I'm genuinely surprised. I really did not think I would like it. I was very hesitant to buy it. They had it on sale for $40 during the Steam Winter Sale. I went and picked it up, and I've been enjoying it quite a lot. It's very fun. I think that like this year they took off to kind of redefine what Assassin's Creed is nice. I feel like a lot of it you could do kind of whatever the hell you want. Like for the most part, I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, Nightmare mode, and I went into a base, and although it does help to sneak kill, because those are confirmed kills you don't have to worry about, I'm straight up fucking Robin Hood, running around with my bow and arrow, just annihilating everything in the distance. And then I'll walk up to the boss of the area, and he's like a raid boss practically, where he takes like 120 arrows to the face before he goes down. But I like this. The story's okay. It's nothing special. A tale of vengeance, blah, blah, blah. I'm still pretty early in it. I'm only in the second big city, but I have about 12 to 15 hours in it. So I've been enjoying it, though. Leveling up, doing the stuff. I like the RPG elements that they've implemented into the Assassin's Creed franchise. And I think it kind of helps you adjust actually create a play style. Like, I want a heavier weapon that will do more damage, or something that's lighter, does less damage, but hits faster. You could kind of fall into different classes that you'd see in normal RPGs, and I think that's pretty cool. You could kind of diversify how you want to play instead of just stealthing around killing everything. One thing I do miss that I haven't run into yet is in Syndicate, which was the one that was set in London. When you'd go to assassinate a target, you actually are taken to another area, and you have to plan your assassination, almost like a GTA heist or something like that, where you'd have multiple avenues to get. You'd have like the first one you do in Syndicate is it's a doctor you have to kill. And there's multiple ways. You either talk to the nurses and they could give you a key to get into the room, or you could sneak into one of the body bags that he's going to perform on, and you actually get dragged in a body bag, and you pop out and you stab him in the neck and stuff like that. But you had multiple avenues to get there, kind of. Where this one, kind of like the other Assassin's Creeds, at least from what I've seen, it's just something that exists in the open world, and you can straight up run in, assassinate him, and then you're good to go and you leave. But I like the kind of like the strategic planning to get to the assassination instead of just running straight through a base, killing the target and leaving, or whatever you do. So I kind of, again, I haven't seen anything like that, so I missed that because I like Syndicate a lot. I thought it was a really good Assassin's Creed game. So I was kind of hoping for something like that to still be in this game, but for the most part, the rest of it's really good. And the game is fucking gorgeous. This is the first game I played on PC from Assassin's Creed. So it's got like the ultra textures, 60 frames. Oh God, it's like so fucking pretty. Every time I play it, I'm constantly wowed by how good it looks for being an open world game. And just even the area design is fantastic. The world of Egypt that they built, it's huge on top of being pretty. It's really cool. Definitely a fantastic game. And I'm so happy that I decided to actually pick it up. So goodness gracious.
I just got another Millennium Falcon.
Nice. Dude, do you want to trade it?
It's a different one too. There's two. So.
Nice.
Yeah. So Shawn, man, you just get ready for that present.
We're getting that much closer.
So ready.
Yeah. So that's been my week for the most part. Nothing too special. New Year's was nice. Went to a friend's house.
Yeah. How was your guys' New Year's?
It was good. We went to a friend's house of our parents. So not like an actual friend of mine, but a friend of the parents. But we all go to the same church. So we went, just had a nice dinner and kind of hung out, shot some what's the word? What's the fireworks? Jesus Christ. Shot some fireworks.
Yeah, half of it there.
Enjoyed each other's company for the most part. I didn't get drunk. I had like a couple pina coladas, but besides that, I didn't know, like with work the next morning, I didn't really want to, or the next day, I didn't really want to screw myself over. So I stayed off of it. So I had, just a few pina coladas. That's my favorite fucking drink.
Yeah.
If you want to get me drunk
at a... What kind of dress did you wear with that? I'm just kidding. Oh, we got quiet. We got quiet. There.
Or like, you want to be the host
now? That's pretty funny though.
So it was a sequin dress, nice blue and cyan patterns in it, and nice. It was embroidered. And my grandma got it for me for Christmas, so I'll have you back the fuck up, good sir. So
as long as the boobies look nice in there, you know.
The boobies did look nice. I had a nice bra to push them up.
Ooh.
And I was politely asked to leave. So
because he's just too damn fine.
I think you should go without the bra. Bras cause cancer. Free the nips.
Mm-hmm. And also, it like increases sagging.
Are you telling me how to control my body, Shawn? True. Are you telling me how to control my body, Shawn? Is it my body or your body, Shawn?
Don't watch saggy tits when you're older.
Is it my body or your body, Shawn? Is it my body or your body, Shawn? I have control over my body.
We're talking.
Oh my god. So then, Shawn, so yours is pretty shitty then, man. Like, God, it was. So wait, what did you end up doing again? You said since your buddy fucking bailed out on you.
He just probably stayed at home, right?
I've known this guy for like fucking forever. But since he sends
let me get his first and last name, social security number, credit card information. He sends me a
text at like 12:30 because I was on the phone with him, like, I don't know, around 9 or 10 or some shit like that. And I'm like, hey, dude, fucking, we should have gotten together around 7. What the fuck's going on? Because I was sitting there playing Final Fantasy, waiting on him. And he's like, so-and-so might be coming over and we might be watching a movie. And I was like, okay, so when are we getting together? And he's like, well, I don't really know. We're just kind of doing a sober New Year's. I don't really. And he started hemming and hawing, and I was like, dude, fucking have a good New Year then. Bye. And I hung up on him, and I went back to trying to reach out to other people. to see. But by that point in time, it's like I got 2 hours till midnight. It's not kind of a last minute thing. Like I thought I had plans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we were going to have a fire pit. There was going to be like 6 of us. And then it ends up just being him and his fucking vagina. And that's bullshit. That is absolute fucking bullshit. Oh. And so, like, he didn't just bail on me. So, turn everything around. He sent me like 8 texts. He tried calling 3 times. Like, I don't know, like 10 minutes later. And I fucking threw my phone across the room and went back to playing the game because there's nothing else I could do. And apparently he showed up and tried calling me and shit, parked in the driveway. I don't fucking know. I don't care. Cause too bad, so sad. You fucked me up. Fuck you, dude. What I ended up doing instead was I fucking went on Fortnite PvP with Tyler and Tavin.
Yeah.
And fucking got our asses kicked a whole bunch and laughed. Because I was working my way towards at least being somewhat inebriated. Tavin was trying to catch up, and Tyler was just enjoying the ride.
That thing you heard was all of Tyler's little shells. You can't see him because this is a podcast.
It was funny, man. We actually had some fun doing it. It was kind of a sad, like, neat kind of New Year's. Not the way I've ever rung a New Year's before.
Bro, I've had New Year's where I just fucking slept through it straight up. So
this is the first year. This is the first year that I didn't do anything because I had work the next morning, so I had to get up really early. I was in bed by like 8, 9 o'clock. I fucking slept through the fireworks, dude, and that was it. Like I didn't watch the ball drop. It was the first New Year's that I can recall. I didn't do anything. Like I didn't celebrate, and like I didn't even text anyone Happy New Year until like I don't know. I think today. I sent just like a Facebook post. Like I don't know. I just kind of didn't feel like sending it to a bunch of people because it was like it was already passed, and I kind of missed. I wasn't part of that in the moment thing, so I wasn't really feeling it. I probably sent like a snap too, just like put it on the story, but like I didn't send to anyone individual. Not even like my immediate family. Like they text me first before I text them, and I was like, okay. I mean, then I'll reply, but. I just kind of think shit happens sometimes, whether for a shitty reason like Shawn's or, something comes up and, you just got to deal with it because of life, you got to do some adulting, got other responsibilities. But hey, you know what? It's only 1 year. There'll be plenty more.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely try to do something with it because, yeah, we're only on this earth for so long. So, yeah. Try not to get too emotional there, ladies and gents.
A single tear.
Forever.
A single tear. So I'm glad again that you both could join me tonight. This podcast episode is late, as the merriment has been going and work and stuff like that. So I do apologize for that if you were expecting an episode yesterday morning. But now it is going Wednesday morning that it will be going out. So that does suck, but it's just I did not expect me to be at work for so long. I ended up getting home like after 9 o'clock, and I'm like, shit, it's late as fuck. So we just called it off till today, and then with that, we had Tyler was able to join us, so that's cool. So all you tuning in, I'm glad that you stuck with us. I'm glad that what was I gonna say? Well, here's to a good 2018. If you want to help us grow. If you want to help us out, feel free to subscribe on the YouTube channel. We are in the housekeeping section now. That was a fantastic segue. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast to get when it updates every week. Keep in mind, we do try to keep it on a schedule every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Sometimes life happens. If you want to communicate with the hosts, feel free to hop on the Discord. We have all the hosts there and also some of the community members. If you want to talk with us, I'm on there all the time. I have it on my phone so I could reply if anyone ever asked me something or anything like that. So we'd highly appreciate any interaction would be nice. We just want to hear from you guys, see what type of people that are attracted to this podcast or do end up tuning in and staying with us. If you want updates, you could go to our Twitter. That is at ThoughtPatrolPD. And if you really like us and you want some brownie points, feel free to leave an iTunes review. It could help us out in any algorithm for the podcasting services. Any type of review that you can drop, as long as it's some form of like critique, actual criticism, we'd really appreciate anything that you guys can drop us. Again, we love you all, and we hope you all had a fantastic 2017, and we're all looking forward to the year coming up. So, with housekeeping out of the way, ooh, excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Housekeeping?
1 mint for pillow.
Yes.
You
say 1 mint? Oh, yes. Ooh, like where this is going. Reminds me of that Skyrim like novel series, The Lusty Argonian. Did you guys ever read those?
Oh God.
Tyler, I know you played a lot of Skyrim. Do you remember those?
I don't know.
You don't remember that? I read like all of those that I found. It was like an erotic.
Yeah, it was
like an erotic novel thing.
All of the iterations too.
Yeah,
that was in all of those games.
Oh, yeah.
The Lusty Argonian. I love that shit.
I try to like pull that on my
block
mind.
That out.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to our game segment. This week we do have Urban Riptionary again. I actually got a compliment. Someone likes Urban Riptionary, which I was surprised. And I had someone else say that they enjoyed reading that we read porn. So, so that I do have a yay for the Kyle Ruins segment. So that will return eventually. I'm going to give it a break, like I said earlier, for now, but I will find it some kind of dirty fan fiction in the future and bring it back. So we're going to stick with Urban Riptionary for right now. And we're going to
Are we not doing skits anymore? Are we done with those?
No, we will. I just have to like actually not be lazy and find something. So with Urban, because I did these notes like an hour ago. So a little bit more than an hour. So our word for today, for you guys to guess, is Irish Alzheimer's. So this is Urban Dictionary. Throw me a question and I shall answer it with a yes or no. And we'll see if you guys can guess what this is. And then we'll also look at a couple other ones that I find in our alphabetical list of Urban Dictionary. So any ideas? Just throw me a question. Irish Alzheimer's.
Does it have anything to do with eyes?
No.
You say Irish?
Irish.
Oh, well,
potatoes.
Potatoes.
I thought you said iris.
No, Irish. Irish Alzheimer's.
Does that have anything to do with alcohol?
It does indeed. This one's actually pretty easy.
Forgetting shit when you're drunk?
Yeah, this was really easy. But I found some other ones that I thought were funny too. So we have Irish anal beads. And those are anal beads that are made out of several potatoes strung together.
Yeah, that one's obvious too.
Like potatoes with famine.
Potatoes with famine? What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Would you like your food with a side of famine, little boy?
I mean, they had a potato famine, didn't they? So,
I guess.
Potato beads.
Yeah, I guess.
It's probably how they got the potato famine. Fucking stuck up their ass first.
Take it to a dark place.
Hey, country girls make do. Have you guys ever seen that meme?
Nope.
Oh god, no. It's like a woman walking away with her. It's really bad, but it's like a woman walking away with her panties off, and it's like a corn on the cob, but it's got like juices on it, and it just says country girls make do. So she shoved a thing of corn up her vagina, and I'm like, what the fuck? It was so weird.
I've seen a fucking dildo that's got that corn design on it.
And I think there was a one for the other gender. It was country boys make do, and it was like a dude eating out a deer's ass or some shit like that.
Oh god.
Oh, I like the corn one better.
Oh, it's so nasty, dude. Oh my gosh.
Deer ass, so good.
Yes. Oh, we have an Irish blowjob. Here we go. An incredibly unpleasant blowjob that comes from crazy Irish girls. It would be similar to a rabid dog attempting. Oh wait, fuck. Shit. It would be. Wait. Oh.
Why is it all this shit that starts with Irish is kind of lame?
It's I don't know, man. Okay, let's get the top definition. A masturbation technique originating from Ireland, which involves heating up a baked potato, cutting out a hole, and whilst hot, using it as a sexual device. In the olden days, this would take a long time, but in modern why do we need that? Jesus, Tyler. You're like right in your mic. Oh, man.
I'm sorry, I was trying not to laugh out loud.
Oh man, we know when you're laughing because it sounds like a hurricane. Oh wait. In the olden days, it would take a long time, but in modern days, with the invention of the microwave, this process can occur within a very short time. Thanks for the... See, they have to build the world around their definition.
Oh my God.
The mythology is key.
Indeed. Let's do 1 to 2 more. I gotta find one. Oh, goodness Jesus. Yeah, these Irish ones are all lame, man. I couldn't find anything good. Let's try... oh my gosh, an Irish barbecue is literally just a car bomb. Just a car bomb. That's kind of dark. Damn. All right, let's do... I found this one. Milking his nuts. Damn, we got like a full fucking paragraph here. All right, top definition for milking his nuts, right? This is the last one and we'll move on. So this is... Okay, for all you women out there, you want to please your man, this is top 10 tips, all right? This is what you need to do for the process of milking his nuts. We have... First, you want to make the point of telling him that you're going to rock his world by milking his nuts. Next, with your eyes straight on his and your hand cupped slightly. Oh God, this might get a little bit graphic. In a way, we're doing Kyle Ruins. Reach under his throbbing cock and separate his nuts with your middle finger while cupping them with the... I'm trying to do this with my hand while I'm talking about it. While cupping them with your ring and first finger, thumb and pinky. Make sure that your middle knuckle is placed on either side of the middle of each nut. And what? What?
When do you need a fucking stereo instruction manual for...
With a slightly upward thrust, roll his balls into your palm and squeeze gently, but consistently in a pumping action until he tells you they are starting to ache with blue ball syndrome. Then release his nuts.
That's a syndrome now?
And suck them into your mouth and lick them in the warmth for... What kind of sentence is that? In the warmth for about a minute. After the minute is up, take each ball in between the first finger and the thumb and middle finger and working toward the rear of his balls, milk the ball by pushing the sperm out through the back towards his vast... toward his...
Dude, this is like worse than trying to put together IKEA furniture. Oh my God!
My God! I've seen Lego instruction booklets that make more sense, and they have no words.
See, this is false because we all know that pee is stored in the balls. Never mind, it's meme. It's old meme. Back towards his vas deferens. Repeat this milkshake action 10 to 20 times, squeezing harder each time. As his cock starts to pre-cum from the extreme need to ejaculate, place your finger and thumb in a circle shape and pushing over the throbbing head, catch the globs of pre-cum. The glob?
I don't feel comfortable
in kindergarten days.
On your circle shape and push over the ridge until your fingers are tightly around the space just below his now fully engorged ridge head.
Ridge head.
No, what's the line?
Perineum.
No. I'm not talking
about
that.
Between the asshole. This thing is written with the same amount of like retard pretend writing skill that dipshit wrote the 50 Shades books with. And I'm not telling you to try and read the books, but if you want to know how badly they're written, just flip open any 50 Shades book and try and read a paragraph. Any paragraph.
It is insulted a bunch of fans.
So bad. I don't give a fuck. The retards for liking the books. They're bad books. They're written horribly. If you want a good book with the same kind of fucking content, you can find them. These are trash books. Yeah, for trash people with trash intelligence.
We provide them. Did you guys not hear A New Shade of Green? Masterwork level literature skills going on there.
Oh my God.
If that's the case, go back a couple episodes and listen to the Kyle Ruins segment, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Do not. If you treasure anything about your childhood, do not. This motherfucker did not check beforehand and decided to go after not one, but several of my most treasured childhood memories.
How was I supposed to know?
You are fucking... You should know me, Brian. You've known me for, 2 years now? Go fuck yourself. Not even... No. And so much no.
Wait, let me finish my essay.
The hell out every time he went to read it. I actually dropped the podcast and left. I didn't want to be in the same room as my phone.
Let me finish.
Damn
shit. and it will be because the milking action makes the head ridge really big, and start milking his shaft. And one and a half. Wait, you got a 1.5 inches, guys. No, actually, no, half an inch. In half-an-inch squeezes and twists while alternating pumping of his balls with the other hand until he comes. This method is called milking his nuts and will produce an unusually large, thick load of cum because Shawn with that goofy ass laugh.
An unusually large, thick load.
Yeah, because his seminal fluid gland will respond to the forced milking of the sperm into the ejaculatory flow. He may even experience a double ejaculation, which will blow his mind and leave you with a very satisfied stomach.
Very satisfied stomach.
Oh, God. And then this is by, the author is Love the Cum and Lots of It. I could get a milking his nuts mug for my coworker. Hell yeah.
All that shit written on a mug?
Yeah, wait, let me see. Man, so that was Urban Riptionary.
What kind of
showing you the darkest.
What I want to know is how people find this out.
They a lot of testing and a very happy man. That's all you got to know.
I mean, there are probably several painful attempts before reaching this golden achievement.
Yeah, someone's nuts probably exploded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anyone ever tries to squeeze my nuts the way that they're describing, whoever it is getting punched in the head.
Oh, that's not.
That is the thing.
They're just trying to satisfy you, Shawn.
Nuts.
All right.
By crushing nuts? No, motherfucker.
There's no nut crushing. It was very gentle.
No, there was nothing gentle about squeezing harder. You know, there is no squeezing hard with nuts.
I mean, if you start very
unless you're in the Pain Olympics.
Oh, let's not talk about that. All right, so that was our Urban Riptionary. Quite an eventful episode. That really made up for the shitty Irish ones, I think. So,
oh God.
Let's move on to our box office tops. Talk about this weekend in the box office. Moving forward, yes, we actually have an interesting kind of top 5 for this week, or the weekend at least. This week, it's weird because we're recording on a Tuesday, but we usually record on a Sunday, so we do the weekend. But for the weekend of December 29th to the 31st, last weekend of the year, we have Star Wars The Last Jedi still sitting at number 1 with a 52% weekend gross.
Fuck that movie.
Moving to a $517 million gross. $500 million on The Last Jedi in its third week. At number 2, we have Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, sitting at $50 million, which is crazy good for the week. I did not think it would do it that well, which is a 38% increase from last weekend, or whenever it started, I guess, sitting at a total gross of $169 million with a budget of $90 million on its second week. Number 3, we have Pitch Perfect 3 coming in. Huge drop between the last two. This is only a $16 million that it made for the weekend, sitting at $63 million total with a $45 million budget on week 2. At number 4, we have The Greatest Showman sitting at $15 million with a total gross of $49 million with a budget of $84 million on its second week. And at number 5, we have Ferdinand sitting at $14 million for the weekend, with a total gross of $53 million, a budget of $111 million, and being on its third week. So those are your top 5 movies for the weekend that just passed. Again, no one really would have not guessed it, but Star Wars still kicking ass. I'm really surprised Jumanji is doing so well, and I've heard that it's not half bad. I've heard that it's a pretty decent movie. I love The Rock and I love Kevin Hart, and I think The Rock, when he's like in a comedic role, he does a really good job. I love those types of movies with him in it. So besides Baywatch, we don't talk about that movie. And
the trailers looked funny. Let's be honest.
I've heard it was horrendous. And then The Greatest Showman, I'm still super excited to see. We'll probably go and see it sometime this week or on the weekend, and I could talk about that with Caitlyn when we get back next week. So definitely super excited. Was that? The one with Hugh Jackman, the circus musical.
Oh yeah.
That one looks really cool too. So definitely a lot of good movies coming out That one that Tyler was talking about going to see, the other Tyler, All the Money in the World, grossed $5 million, is sitting at number 7, which is interesting. Justice League is at 15. And then, damn, Thor still almost broke 1 million in its ninth week. It's crazy. So, well, again, those are your movies in the box office for the last weekend. God, I'm fucking up my English all night. So,
all night long.
All night long. So,
all night.
That was that. Speaking of top selling things, what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to open up Steam, and they have a thing, their best of 2017. And I'm going to talk about their top sellers real quick. So this is for the year of 2017. These are, they basically broke everything down into segments, and I'm going to go over the segments real quick so you guys can see, at least for Steam, some of the top grossing games of the year. So in the Platinum division, which they don't reveal the revenue, but this is basically first place if you think about it. We have Ghost Recon Wildlands, Ark Survival, H1Z1, Warframe, Witcher, The Witcher 3, Divinity Original Sin 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Dota 2, GTA 5, Rocket League, PUBG, and Counter-Strike. That is in no specific order. It's just those are the ones that made that tier. And in gold tier, we have Assassin's Creed Origins, Nier Automata, which is so fucking cool. I never thought that it would get anywhere close to that high, but it's apparently been selling very well on Steam. Call of Duty World War II, Civilization 6, Dark Souls 3, For Honor, Total Warhammer, Shadow of War, Fallout 4, Arma 3, Elder Scrolls Online, and Stellaris. Now, these are going to... we're starting to slowly get into areas of games people that haven't heard about. So we're going to move on to Silver. I'll name a couple. We have XCOM 2, Cuphead, Final Fantasy XIV, Black Desert, City Skylines, Resident Evil 7, Planet Coaster, Dead by Daylight. In bronze, we have Civ 5, Friday the 13th, Elite Dangerous is up there, which is pretty cool, Wolfenstein 2, Dishonored 2, Payday 2, The Division, Prey, Sims 3, there's a fuckload. Doom is sitting up there, which is cool. Tales of Berseria, which is cool. We know there's a fuckload of weebs on Steam, because every time you go in their top selling, there's always somewhere in that list there is a anime titty game to be found in the top selling list.
Tales is not an anime titty game.
It is not an anime titty game. It's a really good RPG. So that was that. I forgot about that. I thought that was very interesting, and we really don't have a lot of news for this week. So
I saw some gameplay on Cuphead. That game looks really good.
Oh yeah, it's
like it's a very colorful game. Like apparently, what's the theme? It's like back in the day, like 1940s cartoons animation, or something like that. Yeah,
they actually.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like really difficult too, because it's like a side scroller in it.
They have a video documentary of that, of like them talking with the developers and stuff, Tyler, of basically how they animated that game and put it together. Because the thing with animation is like 1940 cartoons, a lot of it was done on like 24 frames a second, kind of. But they animated that entire game at 60 frames. So that's double the frames that have to be drawn out in that animation style. So the amount of work that they put into that game is mind-blowing, because they did all the animation like they did in the 40s, but they doubled their workload because the animation had to fit in a 60 FPS game. So definitely crazy the amount of work that went into just the art design in that game. And then on top of that, you have a really fun kind of retro arcadey style shooter. So definitely super cool. And I'm happy that they're making so much money off of it, because it's definitely a project of like passion and love and stuff like that. Smacked my mic. So definitely really cool. So we're gonna go over the news real quick, because there's really not a lot that happened over the last week. At least not much. So so we're gonna talk about, first we have some PUBG news for all you that know what PUBG is, which I'm assuming is most of you. We have PUBG is aiming to release on every platform and become more than just a game. I don't know what the fuck that means. This is by Eddie Macick of GameSpot. We have PUBG was one of the biggest success stories of 2017, and no one is expecting the game to slow down or fall off the radar in 2018. The CEO of PUBG developer PUBG Corp, Chang Han Kim, said in a new interview that he hopes that the game will one day be available on every platform. Not only that, but he also spoke about how his aim is for PUBG to become a universal media franchise that could extend beyond games to TV and movies. PUBG is now available on PC and on console through a timed exclusivity partnership with Microsoft for the Xbox One edition, which, keep in mind, runs like fucking garbage, even on the Xbox One X. That game is not fucking... From the people I've talked to, they said they don't care just because they have an avenue to play PUBG, but like it's not even well optimized on the PC, and the Xbox just takes a heavy shit when it comes to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. From dropped frame rate to texture loading in and all this, like, really just makes the experience really bad. But still, a lot of people really enjoy it because it's their first step into the Battle Royale franchise that isn't Fortnite. So, the game will stay exclusive to Xbox One for some time. Though it looks like you can expect it on PlayStation 4 and other systems later. Quote, if we have the opportunity, the final goal will be to launch the title on every platform, he said. So the PC edition of PUBG recently officially launched its 1.0 version, pushing it out of early access, while the Xbox One version remains unfinished in the game preview program. Despite being unfinished, the Xbox One version has already been a huge hit, selling 1 million copies in the first 48 hours. Fuck me. Kim added that the game has been selling considerably since then, and overall, he described the game's commercial success on Xbox One as being much better than anticipated. Kim went on to explain that part of what is keeping PUBG off PS4 for now, outside of the timed exclusive agreement, is that Sony's system doesn't have an early access game preview program. This is also an issue for Ark Survival Evolved, which launched on Xbox One much earlier than it did on PS4. Quote, early access on Steam and game preview on Xbox One are like pre-release, so they don't have a restriction on quality. However, PlayStation is very strict about this, Kim said. There were cases where a game took 6 months more to launch even when it was already completed. We are still in the stage of learning the console development environment and console gamers' tastes, and we need to think about other platforms after evaluating and completing the Xbox One version first. So, definitely interesting. PUBG is still pulling huge numbers. I was talking about it a bit earlier. Was it with you, Shawn? Or someone? Yeah. And again, I don't have a lot of hours on it. I've played it a little bit. I mean, it's cool, but it's not something that I don't know how people can sit and play it all day or even play it for multiple hours because it just annoys me at a point. It kind of reminds me of like how I felt about zombies because you take all this time and you work it up and then you can die in like a bullshit way. So like you're really farmed out. You have a bunch of good guns, but you just get sniped from a mile away and you don't even know who killed you or something along those lines. And I know that adds to the tension of the game. That's part of the design, but stuff like that doesn't appeal to me, I would say. Unless I'm playing with a full squad of friends, it's fun because I'm with friends. Besides that, I could care less about the game. I don't really play it too often. Same thing applies to the whole Battle Royale game style as a whole. Although I'm happy it's doing well, I wish that they would have... I know that they're probably working on just rushing it out to systems, and it is technically in early access on Xbox One, so that's a reason to why it's in such a shitty state, and they're working on fixing it up. So hopefully they get that done, because people spent money on that product, and you kind of hope for it to be somewhat enjoyable in its current state, even if it is early access, or at least somewhat playable. And on top of that, playing that game with a controller, I've heard I've seen like highlight reels, and it looks like everyone has potato aim, and it's so fucking funny. Even to the point where at the end of the game, people will just drive cars and try and run each other over because it's so hard to hit people with a controller. It's just so funny.
Yeah, I've heard there's a lot of issues playing on the Xbox. Like it's like straight trash trying to play on that
God
console.
forbid you have like an OG Xbox. You might as well just give up at that point. Even the Xbox One X has its issues, so it's just not an optimized game. It's nothing against the Xbox or the Xbox One's power. It's just the fact that the game itself is not well made. I'm sure the Xbox One X is a strong system, but it's just this game, again, like I said, there's most PCs can't even play this game on a decent quality at 60 frames. You have to have a pretty decent computer in order to play it, at least at a higher quality. So,
no chicken dinner for you.
Nope. So, we only have one other article real quick, and this is just something more of something that I'm excited about. I don't know how many of you else out there are, but we have Persona 3 and Persona 5 dancing games have a Japanese release date, and we have a gameplay and track list has been revealed. This is by Michael Higham, who I've never heard of before on GameSpot. So welcome, Michael, to the Thought Patrol podcast. This is all we talk. All we do is GameSpot articles. So keep writing them, and you'll be here. I'm talking like he's listening to us. So Atlus unveiled 2 new trailers for the upcoming Persona spin-off rhythm games during a festive streaming event. Alongside the trailers, which you can watch below, I'm definitely going to watch these after we're done here. We got official release dates in Japan. Both will launch simultaneously on May 24th, 2018 for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita, along with a few special edition bundles. There's currently no word on release dates for either game in North America. The Dancing All-Star Triple Pack is exclusive to the PlayStation 4 and includes both games in addition to a downloadable version of Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Oh, I want that. Oh my gosh, which released on June 25th, 2015 in Japan, and September 19th, 2015 in North America. What were you going to say, Tyler?
So, Kyle, I want to see you dance to Persona 5.
I will.
Just want to see you go ham, fucking on the dance floor.
That'd be cool if they had like a like an action. If it was, that'd be cool if it was Saturday actually like what are those games that had the dancing in them? They're on like Wii and Kinect and shit.
Like Just Dance?
Yeah, it'd be funny if it was like that. It's not like that. It's like a rhythm game. So like that Hatsune Miku game I have, it's like that. So there's music and you just hit buttons to the rhythm and then someone will dance on screen. Those who want the PS Vita versions can get the Dancing Deluxe Twin Pack, which packs both new games alongside with their soundtracks on a 4-disc set and a ton of DLC costumes. The costumes are for both games and call back to other Atlus franchises such as the mainline Shin Megami Tensei, Devil Summoner, Devil Survivor, and Digital Devil Saga. And then we have the trailers. It's cool because we have the track list here. It's huge as shit, though. I'm not going to read all these. Oh, dude, for Persona 5, though, it is guaranteed that we will have Wake Up, Get Out There, Life Will Change, Last Surprise, Rivers in the Desert, Bloomin' Villain, and they're like remixes of all of them. So if you loved any of the music in Persona 5, this right here should be exciting because we have remixes of all these songs that you can play in a rhythm game. So if you're a fan of rhythm games, I definitely recommend this because I'm super excited now. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but we have a remix of Rivers in the Desert. We have a remix of Bloomin' Villain. We have remixes of Willpower, Last Surprise, Life Will Change. I said all that, but it also has the original versions too, but that sounds so fucking cool. So really excited for this. Again, we don't have a release date in the States yet, but I'm sure it will come over here as the same thing with 4 did. And I want to see how much let's see what the version that has both games come. What's it called again? Dancing All-Star Triple Pack. I'm going to Google it real quick. So, how's it going, everyone?
If you guys didn't hear that noise earlier, that was the sound of Kyle's boner hitting the underside of the table.
Yeah.
Of his pure excitement.
I need a price. I don't care. Here we go. Wait. Persona Central. Let's see if they have merchandise here. They should, right? You'd think so. I'm sure I could get it digitally once it comes out. I can't find a price. Whatever. But hey, excitement. If you like the Persona franchise, if you like Persona music, which I've heard a lot of people do, definitely check these games out. If you're not a fan of rhythm games, that's what it is. There's nothing really special here. It's just a rhythm game. You're going to be pressing buttons and jamming out to Persona music. But if you want a way to listen to the soundtrack that doesn't involve you playing the game again, there you go. You have a way. There's an avenue right there. And then you can still support Atlus because Atlus they do a really cool job and make some really good games. So that was our news segment. There was only 2 articles. There wasn't really much that happened this last week in gaming. Like I was even telling Shawn, I was looking at the GameSpot page. And like they had just straight days that there was no articles that came out. And I was looking on a couple of pages. I mean, IGN's a little bit better about it, but there was time where they're just like no one wrote anything because there wasn't really anything to talk about. So with all that out of the way, we're going to be moving on to our review corner. Good greetings and good cheer for all who draw near, for the Thought Patrol crew has a gift for you. Splendor and awe from the greatest flicks even Saint Nick would guffaw. Welcome to 31 Days with the Thought Patrol podcast. Hey, it's back. 31 Days with the Thought Patrol podcast has re-arrived, and we are going to be talking this week about... Oh, excuse me. I got the burpsies. We're going to be talking about Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I'm going to have Shawn start it off, because wasn't it your idea, Shawn? Right?
I do not remember whose idea it was.
I think it was your idea. I know we came across it while looking for others, but I know you also recently rewatched it, so you have the freshest memory amongst all of us about it. So go ahead. We're going to talk about it real quick, and then we'll give our review. And yeah, just like how we did before. So what do you think about this movie, Shawn?
I think it has its charms. It's definitely not a good movie. It's kind of uneven. Because parts of it's got a lot of slapstick in it to make the kids laugh, but it's got a little bit of a satirical view on like the whole Tickle Me Elmo, Power Rangers, Cabbage Patch Kids, toy shortages of the late 80s, early 90s, and what we've seen more recently with other holiday shortages. And it uses that as a vehicle for the story. But what kind of grates on me as an adult is... it's easy enough to make a movie where you suspend reality. And that's what most movies do anyway. But when you push reality so far, it doesn't make sense. Like a lot of this shit that happened. All right, for instance, National Lampoon's movies, Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
there's a lot of weird shit that happens in that movie, but most of it is something that doesn't stretch reality by 100 miles. It's not like Griswold gets in Santa's sleigh and flies for real at the end of the movie. It's not like he makes a jetpack out of eggnog bottles. It's not pushing reality into the land of stupid. And there's so many scenes in that movie, the bomb scare, the hitting the cop and then pouring coffee on him and then just getting off the hook. And Did you think Sinbad was going to get that toy after he gets out of prison? Like, so many parts of it just don't.
It felt like it was
are so far outside of reality. It's like a cartoon, which makes me think it's written for children, which is fine if you're doing a kids movie. You could still put some brains into it. Like my thing is it was just for what it was fine, and I enjoyed watching it. I did. I liked watching it. I had a decent time watching it, but it was really disappointing to me that they didn't put a little bit more effort into grounding it because they couldn't think of better gags. They came up with these cartoony ones where there were no consequences.
Yeah.
And when you've got an entire movie that's about consequence, putting your job first and another thing that kind of bugs me about that old school motif, because that's been a long running thing for a long time. Look at the Santa Claus movies before that. There's tons of them where 2 Jim Carrey movies, if I remember correctly, Liar Liar, and then there was another one where he had a kid, Yes Man, I think. Both times like he's wrapped up in work or something like that. Very similar movies. He's putting his kid second to work. Here's my thing. That's a movie trope, right? That's not a real life trope. In real life, the parents that are working, that are putting all these hours in at work, they hate it. They're miserable. The only reason they're doing it is for the kid. It's for the family so that they can provide. And Hollywood seems to think that this is what a job means, and this is why parents go to jobs. And it's just played out, and it's annoying. So to see it used yet again, even in an older movie, it just grates on me a bit because that's not really how it works. And again, it's a kid's movie. I get it. You're just going to write this fictional version of reality. But I can clearly see a better movie that still has all the slapstick and the silly moments, with the attacking reindeer and the whole nine. But I can still see a better movie that doesn't go so far into being a cartoon. Yeah. With like the constant bumping into the cops with no repercussions, the bomb threat with no repercussions, giving your toy to a guy who, had you hanging from a fucking tree.
Yeah, literally trying to kill you. And this kid's like, you know what? I know the true meaning of I don't need this toy
I don't
anymore.
Need this all.
I have a real life version.
Man.
Yeah. So, oh god. And another thing that was weird is
Jake Lloyd, dude. That's Anakin. You know that, right?
What?
That's pre-jail Anakin. That was before he did Star Wars. He only did 2 movies. He did that, and he did Episode 1.
Damn.
You didn't recognize Jake Lloyd?
No. I don't think I did.
But yeah, that's what I call pod racing. Yeah. That's the part that really got me. Like,
okay, I get it. Yeah. I get it. I thought you were talking about like grown up Anakin, and I'm thinking back through the film, and I'm like, I don't see that. No,
Jake Lloyd, dude.
Oh, okay.
But that's probably my thing. The thing that made it harder to watch for me, unlike some of the other Christmas things that we watched, like for instance, the Santa Claus. Or I'm sorry, Santa Claus the movie, where the first 2/3 of it was just a really charming kind of kid fantasy of, or like visual representation of everything that we imagined as kids. This was just, it was lazy. They knew that they could put Arnold in a movie, it would make some money, it'd make back what they put into it. I just don't feel like they tried very hard to give you a cohesive plot. It was very by the numbers, and it was stupid because they didn't. There was no consequences to actions.
What is your opinion on the Santa Claus fighting warehouse scene? I thought that was pretty fun. And he like, and the midget gets like, again, I'm sorry, small person gets like kicked across the room and hits the midgets. Okay. See, I mean, I understand where you're coming from 100%. Like there were moments of the movie where I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, that wasn't for me. Like that was not something for me in my like this time of my life. Something that was like trying to appeal to me. Like the thing again, it's very slapstick, like you were saying, with the thing with like even the thing in the earlier on where he's like, "Oh, did you get the toy?" And his like eyes spring open, and it's like something that like you'd see in a SpongeBob episode or something like that. And it's just even to like the final act kind of with the whole Ultraman stuff and like the kid almost dying Turbo Man, and then like again just not much consequence to their actions and stuff. And I thought when the bomb scene happened, I straight up thought that those cops were dead, and then it cut to them all covered in char and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I straight up thought that they were dead, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of morbid. And I'm like, oh, okay, haha, that's funny. Whatever.
Sinbad got some of the best lines in the movie.
Yeah, though. He was an asshole, but he had some good lines.
Yeah, I remembered them like teaming up at the end or something. I forgot about it until because I've only seen that movie twice. When I watched it today when you left, because I was supposed to have watched. I was telling Antony I was supposed to have watched it over the last 2 weeks, and I didn't get around to it. And then I found a free version of it on YouTube. So I was watching that while you were gone, and I'm watching, and I'm like, I forgot this part. And Phil Hartman, of course, was classic. Like, it sucks what happened to him, because I really liked the characters he's played. But I don't know, man. It wasn't. I would not throw it in my Christmas classics list. That wouldn't go up there with like Grinch and Elf and the first 2/3 of Santa Claus. Like, it's really, it's. I'd say it's worth watching once with a little kid, but but even a little kid's gonna get bored with the whole like dad wanting to be there for the kid. They're just gonna wait for the slapstick shit to happen.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what they were trying to do there. It just wasn't great.
It's a good example of how not to make a Christmas film.
You're just trying to make some money.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
If you want to see the good version of that movie, one that uses the same recycled garbage plot but is a lot more watchable, even if it's a bit morbid,
the sequel
is the Santa Claus. The Santa Claus does the same basic idea. Dad's not good for Christmas. Dad works too much. He's a workaholic.
That's the one with Tim Allen. I was gonna say Tom Cruise.
And, I mean, the basic premise of the dad needing to be there for his kid is in that movie too. But that movie was just done a lot better, and it's got a little bit more respect for the audience's intelligence.
Yeah, now that I think about
it's still super fantastical and goofy, but
it's weird. You see that, like you were saying, you see that trope used a lot in like Christmas films, even like the shitty Hallmark ones. There's always like, it's like from the, well, although it's not always from the kid's perspective, but it's just like the dad is not
it could
available.
be the girlfriend. Maybe you work too much to be home for your wife, or work too much to be there for your girlfriend, or you keep breaking your promises. It's like this old. And the thing is I've been watching these YouTube videos about like things Hollywood gets wrong, like things Hollywood gets wrong about jobs, or things Hollywood gets wrong about drinking, or booze, or things Hollywood gets wrong. All these kind of tropes that they put in movies that we've just gotten to accept as part of the movie verse. Yeah, we're just used to them being part of the movie verse, when in reality, that has nothing to do with life. Like, that's not the way it works at all. And we've just taken to accept it, that that's the way jobs are in movies. This is the way poor people are in movies. This is the way drinking is in movies. But when I watched that movie as an adult, it just makes me angry that you've got all these script writers out there that are writing shittier than I do.
Yeah.
You know, like if somebody's like, all right, we want a Christmas vehicle for Schwarzenegger. We want it to be funny. We're really thinking slapstick. I could work with that and still come up with a more interesting story than, workaholic dad doesn't get toy in time for son, hijinks ensues.
Yeah.
And then, keeps pissing off a cop. Look, even in old Looney Tunes, characters went to fucking jail. The episode would end with Daffy Duck sitting in a cell rattling a tin cup on the fucking bars. It's there's only so much what's the word, disbelief, illusion,
suspension of disbelief,
suspension of disbelief I can do in an established universe. You give me a film, you establish the rules, and then you go through with the rules. So I see him, if you're gonna have somebody dealing with the consequences with their family, if you're gonna have him dealing with the consequences of parking in a bad area, but yet there's no consequences for crime, I don't know, man. I get what you're saying. It twinges in the back of my brain that it just feels like it's like they slapped it together in a half an hour. And I think that's the part that really kind of gets to me, is I don't really know where that film's identity is outside of it being a slapstick comedy about a dad having a really bad day. And somehow, dude, if I was married to a chick and she caught me robbing the neighbor's house and lighting it on fire to steal a present, me saving my son's life at a fucking fucked up parade thing that I caused because of my behavior throughout the day would not save my marriage.
Yeah, that's
the bitch wouldn't talk to me.
That's branching on like sociopathic behavior at that point.
Yeah.
No, I feel you.
I get it. It's a goofy, silly kids movie. I just don't think it was good, but I just still got entertainment from it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I still think you should watch it once, especially if you're drunk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I understand where you're coming from. It seems like they were trying to meld, like most cartoons. A lot of people don't give cartoon writers, at least for decent cartoons, like the recognition they deserve, because a lot of it is they have to build not only a cartoon that a kid will enjoy, but something that the parent that's supervising the kid can enjoy as well. And this seems like it tried. It tried to present a pseudo like underlying plot that someone can pull something out of, while including something that will keep a kid entertained at the same time. But they just didn't meld very well, and it kind of just pulls you out. And like you were saying, suspension of disbelief. You could only go so far with it. There's only so many times you could be taken out of that world, or at least the world that we live in, and come back and get re-immersed in the movie. There's only so many times it could happen before you just don't give the time and invest it anymore. So I 100% understand that, and it does feel like it has an identity crisis. It's trying to do too much with a story that it just can't pull that out of and make it impactful. So
paper thin. Yeah. I think everybody should watch it at least once.
No, I understand.
Because I think all of Arnold's movies, except for Junior, that one was kind of a nightmare. But I think most of Arnold's movies, well, fuck it, even Junior, because there's still some good scenes with him and DeVito. But I think if you are a popcorn film connoisseur, Arnold is going to be a main staple. He's up there with Stallone. You need to watch all of his movies at least once, and I think that it's definitely a movie that you should see at least once, just so you can get the little bits of enjoyment out of it, because it does have some of his best facial expressions.
Oh my goodness!
Like that's the one thing I'll give it.
You could meme
Arnold.
You could meme that entire film.
Recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two movies, Total Recall and this one, really show his range of ridiculous expressions. And I do think that he worked better. I think Arnold was a better comedy action film guy, or even just straight up comedy guy. I loved him in Twins, although it hasn't aged all that well. I mean, it's still a great movie, but there are some stretches where you're just kind of waiting. But I think that Arnold had good comedic. Well, good's a strong word. I think Arnold had charismatic.
You're like constantly backpedaling.
He's never been really a good actor. He's not a good actor. He's never been a good actor.
No, he's not.
There's movies that he's been good in. He was really, really good in Predator. He nailed that role.
It was a good movie for him, though, too.
Yeah, it was a really fucking good movie. Commando was stupid, but we still enjoyed it. Terminator was great. He didn't really
solidified his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terminator and Terminator 2 were fucking excellent.
Well, especially
he did really good in those movies, but I don't think he's a good actor.
Yeah, it's something where it's more of him. Yeah, exactly. It's like the film is what's bolstering him, and he just kind of exists in it. But I understand exactly, because if you look at like Terminator, you look at Predator, it's a lot of the film is pushing.
It's
what's
the
going
role
on.
Though, too that he plays.
Yeah, it's something
he's not a good actor. He's a fun actor. That's I think the difference. I think that's why Arnold made as much money as he did. It wasn't because he was massive. It wasn't. I mean, his physicality was cool. That's a cool factor.
Well, you get saw
it. He had good comedic chops. The facial timing. He was able to hit his marks and his beats really well. And I think that he was able to have movies written around him or roles that he could fit that he could nail. And there were times when he was good. Kindergarten Cop is a fucking classic. Everyone needs to see that movie. It's fucking
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Yeah. That was really good.
My cookies.
Twins was really good, and he acted really good in that. Like he was able to nail certain things. I just don't think that he was very dynamic. He wasn't like,
John Kibble.
Yeah.
I like how that one was lower than everything else.
Like Total Recall, if you really go back and watch it, is terrible. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of flame for that, but when I saw that as a kid, I thought it was the shit. And then when I went to I remember when I first started buying Blu-rays, one of the first Blu-rays I bought was Total Recall. No, I went to the mall and I had a choice between RoboCop, which is what I fucking should have bought, and Total Recall. And I bought Total Recall and I watched it. And it didn't feel like a really cool science fiction movie. It felt like something I was watching on Cinemax at like midnight, like some cheeseball, low-grade B movie. It was not good. It was nowhere near as good as I remembered it being. It just didn't age. It was bad. His acting in it was bad. I still like it for purely nostalgic purposes, but not as like a movie I really enjoy watching.
And for
nostalgia removed.
Okay, we got. I know we're all having fantastic conversation. We got to move on a bit because we still have our main topic to talk about for this podcast. So ratings. What do you got? What do you got, Shawn? Out of a 10, what do you give it?
I give it 2.5 melted marshmallows where they fell off the stick and got in the sand. Out of 5.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Melted marshmallows.
I'm gonna pull it right down the middle. I'm gonna do 5 cookies eaten out of 10. That's what I'm gonna do. Tyler, have you seen this film?
Cookies is nice.
I've seen parts of it, and a lot of his like liners too as well. So out of that, I'm gonna give a solid 6 smiley faces out of the week. Out of 7. I don't know.
What the fuck did that go?
It's not like ours made any more sense.
No, right. I'll get a 6 out of 10.
Okay, Cool. So that was the last week, or it should have been last week, but that was the 31 Days with the Thought Patrol podcast. This will return next year, and we will have more Christmas movies. I'm going to try and plan out an actual schedule before we get there, because this was kind of very impromptu. So
I'll work with you on that.
Did you guys do Die Hard?
No.
I think next year.
All right, next year,
what I'm thinking is
it's not a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie.
We should do next year. We should do not Christmas.
Movie.
We should do the not Christmas movies like Die Hard or
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas, which is like both a Halloween and a Christmas movie.
Right. Are you saying like movies
Black
that
Christmas.
that don't revolve around Christmas but take place during like that time of year?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
All right,
Gremlins,
so Harry Potter.
Well, we'll do this. Yeah. We'll do this later because this will take a while.
All of those.
Yeah. Hey, we got a whole year to schedule this.
Yeah, we'll have to sit down. So we'll have a more of a schedule that we could present to you guys ahead of time instead of just pulling shit out of our ass like we always do. So here's to 31 Days of Thought Patrol podcast 2018. Woo!
Dilly.
So that was our review corner. Hopefully you guys were able to participate with us over these last couple of weeks, watch these films with us. Yeah, so that was that. We're going to move on to our main topic. And for the celebration as 2017 has come to an end, we are going to talk about our top threes in a couple different categories. So we're going to do top 3 games, obviously, or gaming podcasts for the most part, top 3 movies, and I want to do anime, but I think Tyler, you've watched something this year, right? Anime style?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I've actually watched quite a bit this year.
Okay. So stuff that we've seen. Now, it doesn't have to be technically from this year, but for this year, what we consider the top 3 things that we've experienced, because maybe when it moves on to anime, it might be a little fuzzy. I've played just about everything in gaming this year, so it's going to be including, for the most part, everything besides a thing here or there. And then, so we'll go on with that. So this is what our top 3 is. We're going to do games first. We're going to go through all 3 of us, discuss why we liked our number 1, our number 2, and our number 3. And then we'll do movies and anime. So if you guys are tuning in and you want to let us know what your top 3s are, feel free to leave them either down in the comments below or hit us up on the Discord, drop them in there, and we could talk about them. Because everyone has something that they like. Not everyone got a chance to play every game this year, especially with this year being such a fantastic year for games. We've received a lot of amazing titles this year. So we're going to go for our top 3s. You're going to start at 3, then go to 2, and then do your number 1. So I'm going to have Shawn go first. Give me your number 3, your number 2, and your number 1. This is top 3 games that you've played.
I have to have actually played them, or that I?
No, I want it something that you've actually spent some time in. Not stuff that you've seen. So it doesn't have to, it's just something that you remember from this year that are sitting in your top 3s. Because I know you haven't played everything from this year. So
no, I haven't, but there's 2 games that I definitely put up there. And I only played bits and pieces, but I still think that they should be up there. But if I'm going by what I've played,
give me number 3.
My number 3 would be the new Final Fantasy 14 expansion.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to that expansion yet, but I have been playing that game.
That counts. I'll count it.
So I'm going to take Final Fantasy 14 as my number 3. As my number 2, Cosmic Star Heroine.
Nice. I was waiting for that to pop up at one point.
Because that was really good. And as my number 1... Give me just a second.
Okay.
He's like,
I'm thinking a way we can do this is we, instead of to give everyone time to think, maybe go through everyone's 3, everyone's 2, and then everyone's 1. You think that'd be an easier way to get everyone time to think?
I actually like that. I like that, yeah.
We'll do that. So Shawn's given us his 3 and 2. We'll let him think about his 1. So I'm going to go on my 3, and I'll have you do your man. Professionalism. So my number 3, again, this is very difficult. I know my number 1, but there's been, again, so many fantastic games this year. So trying to nudge everything up into a top 3 is very difficult. But I think at my number 3, I'm going to have to give it to... Now, again, this is really hard. I'm stuck between 2 titles for this year. I'm going to have to give it to Breath of the Wild. So although I did have problems with that game, I felt that it was very revolutionary, and I enjoyed a lot of what I played from it. Thinking back on it, I didn't like it. I didn't like that it had wasted potential in certain areas, but again, it is their first step into the open world adventure title. So I do want to give them some recognition for what they did, because they did pull off a very good thing for something being the first step. And the game was very well optimized for the Switch. I'm surprised how well it did run, knowing that the Switch isn't the strongest system. So I definitely enjoyed Breath of the Wild a lot. The time I put into it, I enjoyed a lot. I have over 50 hours in it. I did not complete the game, like 100% it, because I had no desire to. But I do want to give that game some recognition. I did like it a bit. So what about you, Ty? What about your number 3?
For 3, I'm going to give a very generic one, just because of the fact that how much time I put in the game and, playing with friends. I'm going to pick Battlefield 1's, their most recent DLC release, Turning Tides. Just kind of had Battlefield 1 pitched in overall. But the DLC is pretty good. I played a good amount of it with my buddies, with Antonio and Georgie. And, we always have fun playing it. And, like I said, it's a generic game. The multiplayer, I think why I'm choosing that, and because it's very recent how we transitioned so quickly from getting Call of Duty and then playing all of Call of Duty, getting really bored of it really quick, and then going back to Battlefield and realizing how fucking dumb of a decision it was to get Call of Duty in the first place. Part of it, maybe it was a good idea getting Call of Duty, because it made us realize how much better Battlefield was. When we first played, dude, I was dumbstruck. I was like, how the fuck did we decide to get Call of Duty? Why did we ever stray away from this game compared to Call of Duty in that sense? I still enjoy the gameplay since day one. The Battlefield has got me by the balls right now, and they will continue to do so within hopefully this year, because I from what I heard, there's supposed to be another Battlefield coming out. Whether there's been a leak, but that's been both confirmed and not confirmed, whether it might be the new Bad Company 3 or another Battlefield title, what have you. But I'm gonna go do that generically, number 3 for Battlefield 1, the DLC.
Okay, we're gonna go through number 2s while Shawn continues to think about his number 1. My number 2,
I've got it.
I'm gonna have to say, just so we catch up to you, so we all give our 1s at the same time. My number 2, I'm gonna have to go for Persona 5. Now, I've been a really big fan of the Persona series, and I've dabbled a bit in Shin Megami Tensei as well, and I just love the formula of these games. The idea of moving between RPG scenarios and life sim scenarios, from moving from relaxing stuff you do as just a student into things of hardcore strategic role-playing, down to the bone turn-based combat. I love that even with 5, a new installment, that they've still stuck to their bones for the most part with everything that the game portrays. It hasn't really changed much of the formula because it has no need to. It's a very good system of gaming. And the music, everything about this game is quality. The music is really good. The art design is fantastic. The story is a very fun and interesting story, which is pushed by the characters, which are very interesting as well. There's so many things for you to discover. The game's very long, so you have a bunch of time to get settled in and play through it. And just everything about that game, it had me. When I played it, I did not play anything else for the longest time. And I have yet to platinum the game. I want to say I intend to, but I'm not entirely sure at this point. But at this point, playing the game on a harder difficulty, I racked up about 160 hours in it in one playthrough. So if I were to go back, it'd probably take me about another 100 to get all the rest of the achievements I had. But just everything I did in that game, from the meta game of planning your days out and what to do on what day, to, again, moving the shift in tone from moving to just going from day to day to a palace where you're strategically fighting enemies and dealing with different gameplay mechanics and stuff like that, and that shift of tone. And even when you finally get through a palace and you're given time to rest, you literally rest as a person. You just got through a really difficult boss, and you're done, and you're good for now. It's like, now I could sit back and chill. And then you just have that time to spend in the game's world and just become engrossed in the game. The game is so immersive. And I just love everything about Persona. It's fantastic on all cylinders. I did not have a single issue with it for the most part. And the story had its own fantastic turns. The ending was epic and amazing. Again, the music was fantastic. All of the characters looked really good. It ran very well on the PlayStation. And it was something that brought a lot of people that had never played a Persona game before into this world. And everyone, from what I've heard, a lot of people have enjoyed it. Everyone's all over this game. And for it to bring in so many new players, that's got to say something for Persona as a whole. So that's going to be my number 2.
I told you that made Square backpedal on their no more turn-based games, right?
Oh, no, you didn't say that.
Yeah, a few months after all the good press finally came in on Persona, within, I think it was like a month or two of its release, there's a lot of fan pressure on Square, and the president of Square came out and said, look, we are absolutely not done with turn-based combat and
what did I say last week? Nah, listen.
Yeah, they came out and said we will be doing that going forward, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Because even though Persona didn't come anywhere close to touching Square numbers, but the thing is for such a small, relatively speaking, for such a small developer studio to come out with that game, or for it to make the impact that it did, to move the units that it did, is saying something. That genre is by far from dead. It's still a bit of a niche thing, but it's not so niche that it's not going to make there's absolutely a viable market for it.
And I think if you're trying to get into any type of turn-based, I think Persona is very welcoming as well, which helps a lot with it's not too crazy difficult. It's very, again, welcoming. It does a good job explaining how the game works, and it does a good job of engrossing you, like I said, as well. And from the get-go, I was involved. Even though the first couple hours of the game take a while to actually get to the meat and potatoes, for the most part, the moment we dropped in and I found out about this whole separate world that existed away from humanity and all this stuff, and the way that the castles represented the inner desires of the person that they were trying to change, and everything about it, and just the amount of love that was put into this world and these characters and this story. And for it's really saying something for a game to keep you engrossed in over 140 hours of time, for you to continue to push through a story when most of that story is literally you just pressing X to get through like paragraphs of text. That's something in its own right that should be said about Persona's just the amount of fidelity in its storytelling. For it to keep me...
Persona's been like that for a long time, too.
Yeah, it's a crazy good series, and if you liked 5, go back into the earlier ones, take a dip into Shin Megami Tensei. Although they're a bit darker, they're also fantastic series games as well.
Very different games, though. They take place in the same universe, but very different games.
So highly recommended if you like Persona 5, you haven't touched any of the other ones, take the time, and if you're bored right now, because there's not really much going on, step back into those older games. They all have something that makes them amazing, and I just love this series of games, and I'm so happy it had such a huge impact in the States, because this is probably the biggest launch that Persona has seen in its time in its existence for the most part. So that's my number 2. What about you, Tyler?
Well, god damn, how am I supposed to fucking...
It's like, I liked Bloodborne.
I mean, I'm trying to stay recent and within the year, but I mean, are you sticking with games that came out in 2017 or anything related to 2017?
If possible, I'd like to. But if you can't, if you just haven't played a lot, it's completely fine. Just say, I'm going to say this because it's my best experience of the year.
No. I'm gonna stick to a very similar realm, and I'm gonna say Dark Souls 3.
Is that 2017?
That's 2017 with the DLC, the Ring City. That came out in March was the last DLC. So that's right. That's right, Kyle.
Okay, it works. It works. Okay, good.
No, so that was I believe it was the beginning of 2017 is when I started getting into the Soul series. Finally, I had heard so much about it, and I always loved that setting of just like the whole. I mean, in my mind, first seeing, I was like, oh, it's like kind of like medieval, dragons and fucking swords and shit, and like scary monsters, and like I heard about all the epic boss battles, so I was like, that's something I can get into. So when I was playing it, I had no idea. I heard it was extremely difficult, but I was like, it can't be that bad. I don't understand how. Like what is it that makes the game so hard? Is it the AI? Is it just like the play style or something like that? Is it like the UI or something? And of course, everyone learns the hard way, and you have to learn pretty quick how to adjust to things, because otherwise you're going to be getting screwed constantly. And then finally picking your play style, it was like the single hardest thing for me to figure out, because I had no idea. Like, there's so many different ways you can go about things, and then it's like, well, if I do this, then I can't do this, or it might take me longer to get to this part. And I'm just a simple, slash stab and fucking block kind of guy rather than just magic and shit like that. And I'm not like Tyler and fucking throwing fireballs and shit like that. Fucking fat. No, I'm kidding, Tyler. He doesn't listen to these, does
Tyler, I don't know. Tyler with his soul stream that misses. Yeah. I love that shit.
Yeah. And like, I just remember.
I know, right? Fuck that guy.
Because I remember hearing like that's the easy way out, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to like challenge myself, and like it just so happened to be cool enough that I like that. And my play style is, pretty much just run in there and start fucking stabbing shit. Now, of course, running in with some sort of strategy and then backing off and blocking whatever. Anyways, so I started off with Dark Souls 2, and after I beat that, because there was a sale for that, then shortly after Dark Souls 3 had a sale, so I'm like, okay, fuck it, I like 2. 2 was cool. Let me do this one now. And part of this, I was kind of familiar with it. And I want to say it was Jonathan that kind of got me into the Soul series just from watching him, and he was playing 3. So when I went to get 3, part of it was kind of familiar, except for the part that he was playing on PlayStation and I played it on Xbox. So it kind of, I don't know, it just the controls and stuff like that. And but I played a good amount of it through his, like he made me, I set up like a new playthrough or whatever through his account. So I got pretty far, apparently. I got up to like the first, I got up to the Abyss Watchers, and then, I mean, I couldn't fucking win, but it was pretty fucking cool. So I was like, all right, I got to get this game, and, fast forward again. So yeah, I want to get Dark Souls 3 myself. But anyways, when they finally, my mindset was I'm not going to get the DLC. Like, I just wanted to play the base games because I know how you put so many hours into these games. Like, I think Dark Souls 2, I easily put 50 hours in, and that was me, like, barely doing anything. It was just from learning how to fucking, beat the bosses and shit like that, and just, like, strategies, because you get relentlessly murked time and time again. There were times where I had to take a break from the game. I've never had to take a break from the game before.
I remember being there watching Jonathan play as well, and he has his anger issues. And
I love watching Jonathan freak out.
Yeah, that's why we like playing with him so much. On top of the fact that he's a genuinely cool and good person, but also he has his fits of rage, and it's so funny to hear him just rip off his mic.
Infamous, like his grunt, like. He's a little dude, right? You know what I'm talking about. He has this fucking grunt thing that he does whenever he gets really pissed. But it's like he just wants Super Saiyan 2 real quick. Like
it's so funny because I was editing the Siege highlights together, and there's a moment where he straight up does that, and it just makes me laugh so hard because he's just popping a blood vessel.
Like, right?
Oh, God.
It's like so perfectly timed. God damn it, motherfucker!
I remember Antony and I were at his house one time, and he was playing it, and he was at like a boss. He was playing Aldrich, I think it was, and he was slamming his fucking controller. One time, dude. Actually, no, 2. It was 1 or 2. I fucking went in there, raped his ass, which I thought was a guy.
Whoa, that went to a dark place.
Christian channel.
Oh, Dark Souls. So of course.
God damn it.
Dark Souls. Jonathan Rape.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But anyway, so I got a Jonathan to I guess kind of think to get me into that. But anyway, so yeah, I was playing. I finally decided like fuck it, I'm playing the DLC because it looked cool and I wanted more souls. Like I was yearning for more. So I was playing the Ring City, and then how was the other one? Painted World of Ariandel. I can't remember if that came out in 2017 or it came out late 2016. But
I'm not too sure.
Playing the Ring City was really fucking cool. I mean, it was fucking hard as shit. But I mean, those games are because what the DLC is. It's more than just the base game. Everything is like because you beat the game itself. Now the difficulty, as hard as it was before, it's supposed to be even harder. Like you're not supposed to beat this, like so. It's kind of like get prepared to fucking die more and actually have a stroke or something like that.
Yeah.
So and that was it. So it was everything.
That's DLC done right, and it was $5 less than Destiny's DLC. Fuck you, Bungie.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I got it on sale too, but yeah, it's dialed to 11, so.
The DLCs were. Yeah. I mean, they were kind of short, but they were still pretty cool.
I thought. The Ring City was decent. Again, it all depends on what time you put in yourself. Ariandel was really short. Yeah,
it was like 3 bosses, and one of them was a hidden one. And then you were done. I'm like, holy shit! That took me like an hour and a half to get through. All right. I can't say anything against it because me, Jonathan, and Tyler compared on PS4 probably have put together.
I'm supposed to actually talked about that much.
Probably put together about 300 to 400 hours of play amongst the three of us. Yeah. So
shit, fucking.
All right.
Good.
So that was your number 2. So we're all on our number 1. So to keep it in line, I'm gonna have Shawn go first with his number 1. I'm gonna do mine last because I have a lot to say about my number 1. And if you guys have listened to this podcast, you probably already know what it is. But I have a lot to say about it. So, and we still have to do movies and anime. So, yeah. So, what about you, Shawn? What's your number 1 game for this year?
Even though I haven't played the full game, I played the demo to the teeth, and I know it's good. So I'm just going to say Nier. I'm going to say Nier for all the reasons that I've said that I like it over the past game, because it brought back all the good things that we used to have in games from like Devil May Cry and God of War back in the PlayStation 2 days. And the PlayStation 1 days where games would do different styles. Some of it would be from this angle or that angle. It'd switch back and forth between different play styles. So I'm going to say Nier for proving that type of game can still be done, because for a long time it's all been just one style and they've been short. You know, for 10 years, all of a sudden we went from having 10, 14, 40 plus hour games to having a 6-hour game. People only wanted a 4 to 6 hour game. That's what they wanted, at most 10 hours. So you were having these games averaging between 6 and 10 hours, these Call of Duties and all this other shit that would come out that you beat the first day you had the fucking game. And they didn't used to be that way. PlayStation 2 days, PlayStation 1 days, that generation of hardware consoles, they were trying to give you as much game as they possibly could for the money to get your sales. And now it works the complete reverse. Like, we're going to give you bare minimum, then stretch it out as a service over the next 2-3 years. And even then, you're not getting more game time. Bungie. So
a little nods really here and there.
That Nier gives you this massive gameplay experience, which I haven't got to experience all of it, but I know for a fact it's good. And it's gorgeous. The artwork, the play style is constantly shifting it up, keeps you on your toes. And the levels don't have any dull. So, I mean, it's just extremely well put together and super fun. And that's what I want in my games. I want that.
That's weird. Okay. Sounds good. Huh. Sounds good. Mm-hmm. So that was number 1. Now, what about...
Is it bad that a demo got my number 1 game of the year?
No, but maybe if you could come back and reiterate it if you finally play it later, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll come back and if I...
Better. I have a lot to say. So, what about you,
So,
Tyler? You're number 1.
When I got my PlayStation, during I think it was the middle of the summer, toward the end, I got it, and it came with a little game called Uncharted 4, which I know has been out for...
That's been out for more than a year.
More than a year, yeah. But it was the gateway to PlayStation for me, and it I didn't play a game close to that, like on Xbox that had a storytelling like that. I mean, from what you've told me, when I've heard from other people who had played the rest of the games too, I mean, the fact that there's multiple games like that that are better. Like I heard the second one is probably the best. That's just what I've heard.
The second one's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the immersion and storytelling, where it feels like you're playing the game and watching a movie. It was kind of jaw dropping for me. Like I said, nothing on Xbox could compare to that except for maybe Tomb Raider. But Tomb Raider still at the time it was more like running style. It was like green light, red light, kind of like that. I don't know. For Uncharted, it felt so smooth, like one solid golden turd, just one piece coming out. No wipe. It's a no wipe.
It's a no wipe. Oh shit, dude.
Now I'm not trying to call the game a piece of shit. I realize that's a terrible
analogy.
Yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny to say that. Popped in my head. I was like, oh yeah, I'll say that. Anyways,
most of your day goes, huh?
That sounds good. Let's call it poop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Golden. No, that's why I say golden. It's a golden turd. Solid piece. No wipe. God
damn it.
That's gonna be a permanent thing now.
It's a clean pinch. That's what we call it.
Yeah, a clean pinch. Yeah. So,
whereas
and like I said, it
was a flaccid piece.
Oh my god!
Okay, it's okay, Shawn. We're all in agreement with you. It's okay. It's okay. We're here for you, buddy.
Oh man,
it hurts.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I remember finishing it, and I was like, I gotta get the rest of these games, and I still don't have them, which I really fucking should get the Nathan Drake collection.
They're really good, man.
So, and also the newer one that came out too.
I haven't touched that yet.
Yeah, the Lost Legacy or something like that. I think it was.
I don't know why with the girls.
Yeah, I just don't see Uncharted without Nathan Drake, and it's weird. So I don't have any want to play them, sadly.
I mean,
but I know they're good games. I just don't have a feel a need to or a desire. It's weird.
So it's like Indiana Jones without Indy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
who they cast?
Or Halo without Master Chief.
Who they cast to do the young Indy? Because they cast somebody.
Oh, I don't remember.
Shia LaBeouf.
No. It was a good cast.
You mean the old one?
No, this is new. It's recent news.
They're doing like a young Indy or something like that. I think
they're doing
a TV show or a movie.
Are they? I think it's a movie.
They had a TV show.
I could Google it.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I was kind of not sure what to pick for the number one, but just kind of opening my eyes into the world of PlayStation, and just that kind of gameplay. So yeah, that'd be my number one.
Okay,
probably not the best number one out there, but
I don't know. I googled it and I just get the Young Adventures of Indiana Jones, and that's a TV series. So I don't know. I didn't even know that existed. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was actually okay.
So number one, my number one, and then we'll move on to movies and then anime and movies and anime. We might not have as much to talk about. We'll see. We're already at 2 hours, but I don't care about going over. I don't have to go to work anymore. So at number one for games for me, if you guys have listened to this podcast or have been, you know damn well what it is, but it is Nier Automata for me. Now I'm going to explain the reasons why I like this game so much and why it blew me away for something that I prior had no experience in this franchise of games. I'm going to keep spoilers out of it for the most part. I'm not going to reveal anything in the game, and I'm not going to talk about any vital moments that do happen, which there are a few. There's one thing that did blow my mind that I might talk about. We'll see. I mean, because I have to explain why it was so impactful, and that would reveal certain elements of the story. We'll see. Once I get there, I'll put a spoiler drop before it happens, and you could skip ahead a minute or two to skip that part if you don't want to hear that. But when we get there, I'll talk about it. So I like Shawn made a couple of good points, and I want to talk about a couple of other things that he didn't mention because he hasn't played a lot of it. I think first the story. It's fantastic, and the characters are very well written, very well done. I don't think a lot of people say it's like this big story about existentialism and stuff like that. I don't think it ever gets that deep, but the characters are well done enough to a point where you care for them. Jesus.
Sorry, I laid down. Exhale as I lay down. My apologies.
It's fine.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, man. And you care about them enough where you want to learn more about them. You want to learn more about the world that they exist in. And there are certain parts of this game that feel very film-esque and very just well done. It's very well done. There's a lot about this that displays little details that improve the world building, I'd say. Like, again, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to do anything like that. The music as well is fantastic. A lot of people seem to agree with me, as it did win best soundtrack of the year, which is really surprising. I thought Persona would have pulled that away from it, but I'm happy it did win an award. And as you guys heard earlier, apparently it has sold surprisingly well on Steam on top of that. So I'm super excited that a lot of people have gotten a chance to try this game. And I feel initially the story is nothing too strong because it's not been revealed to you yet. But as you get into the third act of the game, the story starts to open up to a point where you start to see a little bit more about what's truly going on. And there's a lot of big reveals that just they're very heavy. They're very impactful, at least for me. I was very engrossed in this game when I played it. On top of the fact that the gameplay itself, albeit it's basically just beat 'em up with a little bit of RPG elements, it's done by Platinum, who did the Bayonetta franchise. So all of the action itself is very rewarding, I'd say. I felt really badass doing a lot of the moves that I did or playing the game. The animation's fantastic. I could say one knock against it is the world design itself was pretty bland. I know it's supposed to push a post-apocalyptic idea and give you that feel, but on top of that, I felt like just the world in itself wasn't exactly pretty. I mean, a game can be bland and pretty, but the world didn't feel like it. Like the textures weren't anything special. This was me playing on PS4, so it could be a different story for PC. So that's one knock I have against it. But I feel like its strongest push is the characters and the narrative, and I felt like this story will resonate with me for a very long time. This will be like when I look back on this year or look back in gaming of things that I had that were very impactful moments, I would look back on Nier. And I'm going to continue to look back on Nier because I think it did a lot that it just had a fantastically done story. The same reason people look back on Last of Us. You don't look back and remember the gaming or the gameplay, although it was good. You look back and remember the characters and the story. Those are the most impactful elements of that game. And I think the same thing resonates with me in Nier. And it just had, on top of that, again, fantastic music. The way the game is designed, I feel a lot of it is you almost feel like the director's touch in a lot of these things. From, say, when you get to this one area of the game, as you're playing through the level and clearing out enemies, the music, as you get further into the area, almost scales, kind of. So it starts as just a few instruments. It pushes up and brings more instruments into it, and then eventually develops into a full-scale song with the singing as well. And that music flows with the gameplay. And it's just a very interesting idea for music and the way it's implemented, even when you get to some boss fights, which are almost like a rhythm battle, because the boss's actions take place with music as well. So you're fighting with badass music, and that music is giving you almost like little signs as to when the next attack will be coming from the boss. So you're almost flowing with the music throughout most of the fights in the game, on top of the fact that the music alone is just so fucking phenomenal. Everything, again, it's Square. Square usually has fantastic music when it's running as a publisher, but this music was so fucking good. And I can't even just go on YouTube. You could find playlists of it all over the place. Sit down and listen to some of these songs. They have some that are deep and moody, and others that are boastful and what's the word I'm trying to say? Epic. I can't believe I can't think of that word. And I just enjoyed pretty much every second I had played of this game. Like, there were some moments in Persona where I would have to either step away, either it was a really long cutscene and there was a lot of character development going on, and that's not necessarily bad, but it's just something that I had to step away from because it's a lot of reading, a lot of stuff like that. When I played Nier, I think I beat it in like 2 to 3 days, and every time I was on, I wanted to play Nier. When I wasn't home, I was thinking about going home to play Nier. When it completely grabbed me, and there was nothing I can do to shake free from it. And I just love the game so much. And I feel that some of the little notes of like existentialism and what makes someone human that it did present, I think are a very nice touch as well. I don't want to go as far to say as like it was like a genre defining kind of thing, but I like those little notches that were in there. I like the way that the story is presented to you, where a lot of it is small hints, like Shawn has said a million times before, that they respect the audience's intelligence. They'll drop small hints that will build your world as you play, but it's only things that you have to pick up on. You can play through this entire game and get a somewhat sad story with a lot of cool action in it. Or there's a lot of extra stuff that you can do as you play through the game that will present more things to the world, explain what's going on, why it happened, how we got to where we are in this story currently. And a lot of it is sad. This game is a very sad game. If you really sit down and think about what is going on and what's happening to these characters and the world that they live in, it's a very depressing idea. And a lot of it is not thrown in your face. It's not something you see in a cutscene. Well, I mean, I guess some of them are presented in cutscenes, but a lot of it is something that you'll get hints on that you pick up on, and then you further develop them yourself as you continue to play. You look for these little breadcrumbs that the developer leaves you in order to fully understand what's going on here. Kind of like with Dark Souls. Dark Souls does the same thing. They build their world through the gameplay. They build their world as you go through and understand it. And I think the Nier does the same thing. And I think the director, Yoko Taro, is a genius. He's very good at what he does. And although there are some elements that can turn people off, such as being able to see 2B's ass and stuff like that, and some things that make it seem kind of Japanese and weeby, I do recommend, if you want to play it, to stick through to the end, and it has a lot for you. I think it's a super fun game. I think it's a very deep game, and I think it has some very well-written and well-done characters and story. And, okay, I'm going to drop a spoiler thing here, but this is probably the most impactful thing that I went to. And, do I want to do this? I don't know if I want to share this, because I really would like if you guys to play this just to experience it yourself. On top of the fact that neither Tyler or Shawn have played it, I'm just going to say, go for every ending. The way this game presents itself and the way you progress in this game is you play through the game multiple times. Now, you aren't actually playing the game again. The game changes through each playthrough, but get every ending. There are 5 important endings, and they're much easier to get than it sounds. You don't have to play through the game 5 times. You only have to go through it technically 2 times. But the final true ending of the game made me tear. I cried. I had my mouth agape because it was a very impactful moment, and the way that it was brought to you and the way that it impacted me, at least, I thought was very smart. It was very creative, and it's something that I will remember for a huge portion of my life. I might forget it when I'm old or whatever, and I don't care about games anymore if that ever happens. But this is something that, like I say, when I look back and think of things that impacted me throughout the years of games that I've played, that this moment will always exist in my mind. This true ending of Nier that you have to work for and you eventually get was something that sat with me, and that just, even to the point where a lot of people, if you've talked to me and I've talked to you about games, I've recommended it, and I've tried to push it down people's throats almost in a way, because I really want to hear other people's opinions on this ending, because I thought it was so fucking cool. And not only that, it was impactful as well. And I thought the idea and the way that they put that together And that design setup and just everything about that final segment of the game was really cool to me. And that's why it sits at my number 1. That's why it sits, because I can look back on the other games that I picked and I could see one or two things. Like I could look back at Zelda and the thing that resonates through my mind is the element of freedom. I thought that was cool and I thought that was fun. But when I look back at Nier, I look at music, I look at the gameplay, and I see the story and the characters. And the story and the characters are what's going to keep me remembering the game for the most part. But I've been talking about it for 20 minutes. But if you do want to hear, if you have played the game and you know the ending and you want to talk with me about it, I'd love to. Just hit me up on like Discord or something like that. Because I just want to talk with people about it. That's why I'm hoping more people play it, so I could sit down and just like pick their brain on how certain events that unfold in the game and what they ended up picking up as they played through it. Because I got a huge amount out of this game and I love every bit of it, like to the bone. I almost have 3 copies of it because I bought 2 for the PlayStation, 1 to play it at midnight and 1 to have a physical copy to sit next to the soundtrack on my shelf. And I almost bought a 3rd PC copy to play it again. But this is a game I could see myself coming back to later and playing through again. I have not completed it, so I do intend to. And I do intend doing a playthrough on Very Hard, which is a one-shot kill mode. But I absolutely adore everything in this game. Like I said, there's 1 or 2 small gripes, very minimal at most. But I can't sit down and like pick apart this game and make it sound bad, because I just love it so much. And for something that I've never experienced before, it definitely blew me away, and I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. So that's why that's my number 1. So we're going to move on to movies and anime.
Ooh, Kyle poured his heart and soul out in that game.
The thing is, I would love to go for longer, but the moment we get into different areas, we're rolling spoiler territory, and I don't want to spoil anything from this game because I would feel bad, like if I took away the impact that the ending of the game had to me, or if I took away the impact that certain story arcs had to me. I would like genuinely feel bad if I took that away from somebody. That's how much I care about this game. So I highly recommend, if you do have the chance, that you play it. It's really good, and even if you don't pull anything out of it, it was a fun beat 'em up game that had really good music. So let's move on to movies. What kind of movies you guys been seeing? Let's start with number 3s all around the board. We're going to keep the same rotation. So Shawn, Tyler, and Kyle. What about you, Shawn? Sitting at number 3 for... Oh, wait, no. Oh, no. I'm sorry. I thought we didn't say your number 1 for games. What's your number 3rd? What's your 3rd favorite movie of this year that you've seen?
I don't remember seeing a lot of movies this year. I mean, I know I have.
Time, Shawn.
You could always pass if you want to. You don't have to.
Yeah, I can cover you.
What came out early in the year?
I mean, this year we've had Logan, we've had Dunkirk, Get Out. I have a list here. Wonder Woman,
Cars 3,
Blade Runner, Star Wars.
No, Blade Runner is in there, but that's not number 3. Star Wars doesn't even make the list.
Thor,
Transformers, right?
It.
Oh God! There we go. All right, I'm good. I'm ready.
War of the Planet of the Apes.
I got my list.
John Wick Chapter 2, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2,
Atomic Blonde.
Hold on, let
me think.
I know there's a lot to remember back to. This year
John Wick is my number 3. I would say let's be fair. Thor is my number 3. John Wick's tied with 2. It's an exact equal to something else. So I don't want to put 4 in there, but I have to be honest. But I'll say Thor for just enjoyability of a movie. I'd say no, that's not fair. No, let's say no. John Wick. No, fuck that. No, I mean I like the movie.
But it wasn't a fucking coin, damn it.
All right, I'm good. I got it. Number 3.
Heads.
Number 3
number 3 is John Wick 2.
Okay.
For sure.
No,
I'm a diehard Keanu fan, and John Wick was perfect. John Wick 2 is perfect. I never thought John Wick would succeed. It's the kind of movie where I love it, and if I love it, that means the rest of the American going public is too stupid to like it.
There you go.
And somehow they fucking loved it. I was super happy about that.
That's cool.
and it takes place in a very unique universe that lacks definition, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. It is cool how they kind of just purposely keep out certain key aspects, like why this hotel of assassins exists and all that other stuff. I think that's pretty, or not assassins, but hitmen. I think that's really cool.
It's meant to feel like a comic book.
Yeah, it definitely does feel like one too. And the action is some of the best gunplay I've seen in movies. It's so fucking cool. All right, what about you?
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Tyler, for number 3?
I think for 3 as like a enjoyable movie to watch. And I was kind of iffy on it because there were a few good movies that I mean, there's a handful of movies I want to go see this year, and there was even a decent handful to pick from. But
I want to go something you've seen.
Yeah, I know. Okay. No, I'm saying like the ones that I've seen because I've seen a lot this year. But I'm gonna say
Wonder Woman.
I'm gonna say Kong Skull Island.
Oh, okay, cool.
As my 3. As a 3, I mean, because it wasn't a tremendously amazing movie. It wasn't like anything. I wasn't expecting it to be really good. It was fun to watch. Of course, with the effects we have nowadays, Kong looked awesome. I mean, even though they made him this huge giant ape, but I liked it was a different take on Kong. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same story told over and over and over again that's been since whenever Kong first came out, like what was it, like the 50s or something like that, or the 40s actually. That was actually Hitler's favorite movie. I don't know if that's a true fact, but
just drop it.
I keep hearing that. Anyway, you
keep saying it until someone tells you otherwise.
Yep. So I mean, Sam Jackson, he had a pretty decent role. Who else was in there? What's his face? Who plays Loki? I always forget his fucking name. Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, Hiddleston. He had a decent role too. Good. Just the fight scenes are cool. I like the take on the kind of. It was a different Kong movie with the theme and the time frame too, because like most of them take place slightly more. Either it was like more modern or it was still classic. So this is in between. It had the Vietnam. It had like a Vietnam kind of vibe to it, where it's playing that they're playing a bunch of CCR and stuff like that. They had some Sabbath going on in there too. That was pretty cool. I think they had a Door song in there, and like it wasn't even well known stuff too. I mean, there were some songs I knew the bands, but I never heard those songs before. So I was like, okay, so they were kind of pulling like a little bit of like a Guardian style kind of thing, where every other chapter or whatever or scene they're playing like a movie, a song that would kind of progress into it and like kind of emphasize what's going on, the feelings. You kind of catch those feels, you know what I mean? So yeah, overall it was a fun movie to watch, but like nothing that to really like talk about like, oh yeah, that was like one of my favorite movies. I like how it was to me that was more of the introduction of the MonsterVerse that they're doing with the Universal's doing now. So I'm curious to see how they're going to do this with Godzilla in the future. So that was the other part, was the Kickstarter for that, because they had some cool little nods off and Easter eggs to what monsters are going to be, in this shared universe too. So that's going to be. Since I was a kid, I always loved this stuff. So with like Godzilla and King Kong, and watching the original Toho version of it too, and just to see now, like I said, with the effects we have, putting those two colossal, giants, these titans go together and just buff it out in like a cage match, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, everyone loves watching giant monsters fight, and it's always gonna be cheesy. It's never gonna be the best plot and whatnot, but it can be still done well, and people can enjoy it. Now, I know, I hope they learned their lesson with Godzilla that came out in 2014 with Gareth Edwards directing that. I mean, they had, again, the story was kind of all over the place, and it didn't really follow through. But of course, the fights, even though Godzilla had very little to no screen time, it still had some cool scenes that made up for it. And just seeing him on the silver screen was like so fucking cool. So, with Kong now, I'm really interested to see now, because now that he's this colossal beast too, because Godzilla was always, Kong's just he's a a giant ape, but Godzilla's even more giant, nuclear lizard. So it's
I don't know the way you said that was funny. Like a big nuclear lizard, man.
I like how he didn't say nuclear. He said nuclear.
Nuclear lizard. Yeah. So it's gonna be cool having them buff out and
Cool.
go at each other's throats. And I think next year or something like that, we might get some teases sometime this year. So that'd be cool.
Nice.
So that's my number 3.
Okay, cool. I think my number 3.
Kong's got the intelligence on Godzilla because Godzilla doesn't.
Yeah, he's smart.
Godzilla's got more of an animal type intelligence, although he's a higher functioning animal. But Kong's got a primate intelligence, so Kong has
he's very intelligent.
Memory. Yeah, so
he can plan, he can strategize. So he can definitely get the jump on him. Godzilla just has the power. But I mean, we all see Kong go and actually, in Jackson's film when he took on those V-Rexes. 3 of them at a time, the whole family.
Kong used tools. Kong actually rescued somebody, showing some sort of consideration or understanding or mutual respect. That's not the kind of thing that would occur to Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla
at least, except for those cheesy Toho films.
Well, we're not gonna. Yeah, well, you mean like with Son of Godzilla and shit? I don't think they're gonna go that route. Yeah. Godzilla's done a hard reboot in Japan too. With that last one, they did a hard reboot.
Still haven't seen.
It's pretty good, man. You should check it out.
Yeah, I know. I want to.
All right.
Overall, I liked it more than I liked the 2014 one. The only thing that I liked about the 2014 one was the very end part. And some of the connective tissue about kind of giving it a reason for being. About how Godzilla used to hunt those other type of creatures back in the primordial days. That was kind of interesting. They wasted Ken Watanabe. Like I was so excited he was in it. And
everyone was
fucking wasted him. So tragic.
No one expected that, but oh well.
Okay.
All right.
It's not a review of Kong. All right. So that was your number 3. Shawn gave your number 3, right?
Yeah, I gave mine was John Wick because it's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Just to stay away from you guys' movies, my number 3 is probably going to be Get Out, that horror movie directed by Jordan Peele. I really liked that film. I thought it was cool. I feel like, although I've heard complaints that it almost feels like a kind of like, oh, whites are bad kind of movie, I didn't see that at all. I thought it was a really good horror movie. It had its twists for the most part, and I just thought it was overall very enjoyable. I like the main actor. What's his name? I think it's Daniel Kaluuya or something. I don't remember his last name. I have no idea what his last name is. It's Daniel Kaluuya or something like that. I enjoyed him in the role. I think he did a very good job. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a fun movie. It had its twists. There's not really much else I can say about it. It's a horror film. Usually I think it's more of like a thriller. I don't know if I can consider it a horror. Horror and thriller, the lines are kind of blurred between each other. But I think I consider it more of a thriller. But I enjoyed it a lot.
Thriller.
Yeah, and it definitely it grossed pretty good too I think it doubled its budget, I think. I don't remember.
It was working off of racial tensions. Of course it's going to make some money.
Let's not get into that.
Well, yeah, but that's definitely the reason why they released it when they did.
All right, so that's my number 3. So let's go back to number 2s. What about you, Shawn?
I can't rave enough about that. It's so fucking good. The cast was just amazing. I loved so much of that movie. There's only a few tiny misfires in the film, and they're forgivable.
We weren't able to see kids run a train on a girl, man. Maybe we'll get it in part 2.
Well, the thing is that actually that has a place in the story. And it was written in such a way to where it was done sensitively and it made sense in the book. But that's not the kind of thing that you can do in the movie because they actually had teenagers do the roles. If they had gone just to had the older play the younger, they might have pulled it off. But I really don't think the film version of it needed that. So I'm okay with it not being there. It's not really an issue for me. Some of the purists were freaking out, but they can go fuck themselves. I thought the actors in that movie were fucking amazing. My big grievance is some of the characters like Mike came in so late in the story that they didn't really have a lot to do. Like Mike ended up being more of a token black than an actually fully fleshed out character. Like they did some fleshing, but it just wasn't enough. I wanted more of his character, and there was a part near the end that didn't quite feel right to me. When they took one of the characters and made him kind of the damsel in distress, when they kind of went against the type that they've been playing through the whole movie. It's kind of an old school archetype that didn't belong in this type of horror movie. But outside of that, like I walked away from that movie astounded that I'd watched something so good, and it was good, and it was sufficiently scary. Even when I knew it was coming, it was scary. It was just a good movie. And on top of that, it was a good horror movie. And I got the second part of the story to look forward to. It's the first Stephen King movie they've done good in like 2 decades at minimum. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very, very good.
So it's probably one of the better horror movies to come out in the past few years too. That was like done well. Like a lot of movies that come out, it's always the same. Especially nowadays, it's the suspenseful, paranormal, James Wan style,
bullshit.
like esque, yeah. I mean, it has some good parts, but it's always the same ending. It's always the same. You know what's going to happen. It just the only aspect is whatever the hell that is that's trying to scare you. That's the only different thing there. But it's in the same style. It's done the same way. There's been nothing new in the horror genre for a while. So I think this hopefully gives some sort of rebirth to it, or just kind of refills it in somehow. And like you said too, Shawn, for when part 2 comes out, I mean, and this too gives it another chance, because they can get an A-list set of actors, hopefully some good actors for this. I can see people like want to do this, and who knows? And I think now we have I think they're doing here we are with the remake, especially with the original slashers coming out. They're doing the remake of Friday the 13th. They're doing Halloween. I think they're doing another Nightmare too. But I know for Halloween they're doing it again with Carpenter, with John Carpenter. I think he's coming back. I don't know if he's directing it or some sort of supervisor or executive producer. So if he's in there, and I think what's her face is in there too. She's supposed to be part of it again. What's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah, from the original.
I don't know what they're gonna do, because let's be honest, man. Every Halloween movie after the second one was trash, and they just became more trash as they went. Now, Season of the Witch was interesting as a standalone kind of creep-tastic, B movie, like midnight B movie. It was all right, and they tried to do one that was supposed to give Mike his origins. I think it was 5 or 6, where they made 2 different versions of the film. One of them was there was a CIA project, and they were trying to create the perfect assassin, and so the CIA kidnapped Myers as a kid and programmed him, and that's why he continues to follow his duty. And in that storyline, he's never actually died. He's not a supernatural killer. He's just hasn't taken enough damage to die. Like he should have, but he didn't. And he's been programmed using acid and all this other crap to make him, this perfect killing machine. That storyline, that cut of the movie was destroyed. And they went with a storyline where it's this cult.
Was it like the supernatural ritual one or whatever?
Yes, which is the one that you ended up seeing. That cult, the Cult of Thorn, is the same cult that made the masks from Season of the Witch. So all Season of the Witch is something to give you an idea of how insidiously evil the Cult of Thorn are. But outside of that, it's garbage. That was so bad. The one with Paul Rudd was bad. Halloween 2.0 was bad. The one with Busta Rhymes was bad. They were all trash. Like the first 2 were good. They kept it simple. They didn't explain shit. It was everything was choreographed in such a way. The movements, the sound. Carpenter had this way of taking art and sticking it in a movie where it had no place being. So he took these films that were done on a micro budget, and he did something that was just, even though they're slasher films, and I'm not a slasher film fan, the reason why I love the first two movies is how the sound works with what you're seeing. Everything's built around the sound. If you notice, Michael Myers never makes any noise, ever. But everybody else is wearing hard-soled shoes. Now, these movies take place in the 80s. Hard-soled shoes went out in like the late 40s, early 50s. They've been around forever. They're not a thing. Nurses stopped wearing hard-soled shoes a long-ass time ago. You know? So all of these little attention to detail, these little tiny things that ratchet up the tension, and I think that's what those movies are good at, is the tension.
Well, the music too played a big role in it, because whenever he appeared on scene was the
all sound. That's what I'm saying. It's all comes down to how the sound ties in with what you're seeing. The music, the ambient noise, all of it. The way it's choreographed and timed with what's happening on screen is what made those movies so interesting. And a lot of those techniques that he used on that went on to be used in movies that weren't horror movies.
Guys,
it just brought back a rebirth of that whole technique, which is really neat.
I know, Kyle. I know.
But I don't even remember what the fuck your number 2 was. We've been on this tangent so long.
Anyway, it was fucking gorgeous. Okay. It was so wonderful.
All right, Tyler, what's your number 2?
I'll just shorten it a little bit. Well, my 2 would have probably been, if it was good, Alien Covenant. I was really disappointed, and as a longtime Alien fan since I was a kid, because Grandpa let me watch those movies and fucking installed Grandpa. Nightmares. Yeah, installed nightmares in my fucking mind, and it scared the living shit out of me. But of course, when I got older and matured and kind of understood more of what was going on, other than just these fucking scary ass alien things like running around killing people, I really, loved like the saga. Like it really made me enjoy it more so. As a matter of fact, I think. So this being kind of a letdown again, fucking, it was supposed to be less Prometheus, more Alien, but it was kind of it answered on that part. It was left.
Okay, so Tyler, what was your number 2?
I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's okay. I understand.
Control. You must learn control. Where'd it go? It's out of here. Oh shit. So, Shawn's not gonna like me for this one.
Uh oh. It's fine. Everyone's got their opinions.
And it's because I'm such a fan, and because I teared up quite a few times. It's Star Wars.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yes, there is. There's something
Shawn, just hold on. I only liked it from just the child in me, and just remembering how I was as a kid watching it. It was just the kid in me that liked it. Just like the cool, just being into that universe was all it had to take for me to like it. But of course, like I said there at the beginning of the podcast, I did have issues with it, and and I won't let that go. And I hope to God fucking what's his face fixes it and the next installment, considering he's coming back. But I don't know, what the hell Disney's plan or idea was. I feel like they're just winging it since Force Awakens. I was hoping they probably had this whole thing set out, like a whole Grandmaster plan, like how Marvel has their stuff. Like, they have it set up, like, a whole decade ahead of time, and you just execute on that, and then you can fluctuate here and there. But no, they're just kind of, I feel like they're making shit up as they go along.
That's a good way to describe it.
But as far as what it was to me, it was still the Star Wars-esque with the modernization. But hey, it had the music, it had all that. And sometimes it might have been overplayed. And, you feel like at times they were kind of really just trying to push that envelope. Like, hey, it's Star Wars. Yeah, we're still kind of baiting you with, original trilogy stuff here and there, but also throwing this new shit in here. And I mean, don't even get me started on the whole fucking casino scene. Minus that, I mean, if that was taken out, I would have liked the movie a lot better. But I did kind of enjoy Benicio del Toro, though. He's always an interesting actor to see in the movie. But
he's the best part about that movie.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I want to attack it and I want to defend it at the same time. So I'll be on the mutual side. It was Star Wars,
protect, but she also
hate
attack.
It and, yeah. Hate it and like it as much as you can. It's still a fucking monopoly. It's an empire.
We're just screaming into thin air and hoping to God that the ignorant masses listen.
It's an empire that you cannot strike back. All right, like that's what I'll say, and I'll leave it there.
Okay, so that's your number 2. My number 2, I'm probably going to say is Logan. I really, really, really liked Logan. I liked, although it did not stick to the comic book story that it was based off of, I liked the way that they ended Wolverine. I liked the way that they set up the end of Wolverine. I just enjoyed it. It had good action. I liked that it was rated R, so we got to see some truly gratuitous shit go down. I thought that was really cool because I always felt like that's what Wolverine needs to be, like truly fucking like his weapons are pointy knives. There should be a lot of blood and gore going on, and the fact that we get to see that even in his older state, he still kicked ass, including X-23 as well. And it was just it was a nice end to an era of movies, I'd say, and I liked this movie more than most of the X-Men films. And I just liked it. I like how it felt like a wild western kind of, but in a modern day. I like the idea of moving the girl and that bond that builds between them. It was fun. It was fun. It had its sad moments. It made me tear up. I cried at the end. And I just enjoyed every second of that film. It was really fucking good. And yeah, so that's my number 2, Logan. Moving on to number 1s, we have Shawn first. Shawn, are you available to go? I see you're muted.
Blade Runner.
All right, Blade. I was expecting Blade Runner.
Best movie of the year, Blade Runner, hands down. Unbelievably awesome, unbelievably powerful.
I still haven't seen it, dude. So
I need to too.
I need to see. There's still a few movies I need to see.
All right, cool. So you really like Blade Runner? What do you think it compares to the sequel? Runner. Or what do you think it compares to the prequel? My bad. Shawn?
I think I would say the original tells a bit more powerful of a story. Just a bit. I'd say this is a different story set in the same universe with a few recurring characters, and that's about all you really see combining the two. So it's more, I think it's less about showing us where Deckard's life has gone, and more giving us a glimpse as to what's happened in that universe between then and now. So you get to see how that world's grown, how it's changed. You get to see how there's still a spark of humanity hidden beneath this veneer of grime. It's a really interesting world. Cyberpunk is one of my favorite genres, and it's so rarely done. And then out of the times that it is done, it's so rarely done well that I gobble it up anytime I get a chance to. And Blade Runner was by far the best of the cyberpunk stories. They're still working on bringing Neuromancer to the screen, and Neuromancer has a huge fleshed out world too. Multiple books. Very good. I mean, there's like 9 or something. There's a trilogy, then another trilogy, then another trilogy. Technically, they're all supposed to be separate worlds, but if you read them back to back, they all flow smoothly together as one storyline. So,
okay. Cool.
Anyway, I really loved Blade Runner, and as for how does it compare to the first, I don't really. It's not one of those things where like I feel like comparing it.
Okay.
I don't really feel like they do. I mean, you can sit there and compare Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. You can compare Batman Begins to Dark Knight. You can do that. But with these movies, I think they exist as one film. Almost like a part 1 and a part 2. of like one story. Here's the world as it stands. Then we jump forward, 30 years. Here's where the world is now. But overall, I'd say the first one probably had a better story, less obvious, did a lot more metaphor in it, where this one was a little bit easier to understand for folks who don't think when they watch movies. But I still think it was, there was very few ways it could have been better. I think they were both excellent, and I give them both a 10 out of 10. Thumbs up. Awesomeness.
Cool.
Beautiful, exquisite movie.
All right. So, Tyler, we have your number 1.
I'm going to go with your number 2 there, and I am going to pick Logan. Nice. I thought it was a very good take on a darker superhero movie. Between that and kind of like I take the 2 out because they're 2 different types of superhero movies, but they're also compared to how a normal superhero movie plays out. That and Deadpool, those are both great movies. Just kind of like the style on it, and it was individualized, of course, it being just a single character, being the protagonist. But just the take on it, and like how they kind of, they turned it and they just made it into a different genre almost. Like, yeah, so it was that slower pace for Logan. It was that slower pace, kind of quieter, more modern, older take on it, and it was a lot more down to earth and oriented in a way where it felt like it felt human in the sense, because of it's the thing that
it was relatable.
It's Father Time, it's something that affects us all, and that's kind of what that was on there was age and death and all that, and nothing lasts forever, not even the gods, it's pretty much is what they're saying there. So it's, these mutants, they might have something prolonged, but at some point, catches up to them. And then when it does, it hits them hard. Ooh. So, but other than that, the really good action. Huh?
What happened, Shawn?
Logan, that's the thing. I didn't get to see the movie. I know it's a good movie. Everybody says it's a good movie. Unfortunately, I've read the books. I read a lot of X-Men and a lot of Wolverine, and I read Old Man Logan. And I liked Old Man Logan as a parallel universe story, which is what it was. That's not the Marvel, the main Marvel universe. It's a one-off kind of Marvel universe. But I liked Old Man Logan because it was an interesting story, kind of like a what if.
Right.
But Wolverine, I don't understand. Why does he die in that movie? Because Wolverine ages extremely slowly. Like, he would live another several hundred years. And
there's still, he doesn't die from, obviously, spoiler alert, but it's way too late now. He doesn't die from old age. He's killed while he's trying to rescue a bunch of other mutant children that have been hiding out. And he's being tracked. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but how did they slow his healing factor down, or was it just?
Well, it was because he was being poisoned by the adamantium that they injected into him. They're still on that,
which was not a thing. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's again. This I would not go into this film expecting Old Man Logan because it only slightly borrows from that fact. There's they don't show him killing off all the other X-Men after being tricked. Although they do have hints to it that there was a big event that occurred and that why the mutants no longer exist and stuff like that. So there are like some of those little nods if you are a fan. But for the most part, it doesn't really pertain to that story. There's nothing crazy, or I wouldn't say crazy, but there's nothing along the lines of that really going on that deeply. But the story overall, like Tyler said, it's relatable, and you truly are attached to these characters. Like, I was so engrossed in this film. Engrossed is the word of the day. Yeah,
I think his performance would be enough to separate me from my rage at them not respecting the story, because what they did do with the story, the one that they made up, was apparently good.
He was really good in this movie.
He was.
Hugh Jackman did fantastic.
I wonder if they decided to do
they made him look so old too. Like,
they made him look like
shit. Like shit. They did such a fantastic job with the work that they made him look hang up old. The cape. Yeah.
No, he had already hung up the cape. He just had to like kind of like pick it back off.
Yeah, it fell off the coat rack. A little bit.
Yeah, but it was still kind of shitty, you know, like it doesn't fit him. You know,
like, like a towel around the neck.
Yeah. I gotta work, goddamn it.
Yeah, he does. You gotta work on him though. All right, so that's your number one?
The golden turd.
Yeah, that's my number one there.
My number one, I think I'm trying to stay away from some of the other movies. I'm gonna say Kingsman and the Golden Circle. I think that movie defines raw badassery spy action, and I really like those types of films. I like that it's funny. I like that the direction. A lot of what they showed off is cool. The camera angles were awesome. The way the film was shot was really cool. It was very creative. This whole Poppy Land area that existed in the film was really good too. It felt like it had its own kind of comic book feels to it too, because it just had a immense ridiculousness, such as like robotic guard dogs and like this area in the middle of a forest on an island that looks like a 80s diner area and stuff like that. And it's just, the movie was ridiculous, but it was like a fun ridiculousness, almost in the vein of like Wolfenstein, if you were to compare it to a game. It never takes itself I don't think it ever takes itself too seriously. And it has a lot of just super fun moments that are amazingly well done, from camera angles to the choreography. It defines badassery, which is why I compare it to Wolfenstein, because I feel that Wolfenstein does that. So definitely fantastic film. If you haven't seen either of them, they're really fun to watch. Definitely with a bunch of friends, if you sit everyone down to sit down and just enjoy it as a group. And just awesome film. And I think it holds up to the original as well. So...
It's not a bad comparison. Wolfenstein's so very over the top and silly about how it does things, and this movie does the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely have better analogies than Tyler does. All right, so that's our movies for the year of 2017. Let's move on to anime. This will be our final top 3 that we do, and then we'll probably call it from there. This is a very long episode. I did not expect it to be this long, especially since we had literally no news segment. So... it's cool. One final last hurrah for 2017. So I hope you guys are still with us, because this is a long episode. But hey, so I'm gonna have Shawn start as always, and then we'll move down the same rotation. So Shawn, what's your number 3? You guys should have been preparing while we've been talking.
I had a list. I just
watched so many.
Jesus. Well, it's for this year though. Shows of this year, if you can remember. I was going to
say shows that I watched this year.
Okay. If you haven't seen anything that was from this year, then that's fine. But
yeah, I'll just show you what I watched this year.
Give me like 2 seconds.
I could do my top 3 because I have them down already.
Yeah,
I did say to prepare that we would be doing top 3s in the
I know
group
my
chat.
first and second one. I just don't know my third place one.
Okay, my third place one, I'm going to go ahead and say Fate Apocrypha. I really enjoyed this show. You can find it on Amazon, or not Amazon, on Netflix. Fantastic fight scenes. I was very worried going in because it's not done by UFO Table, which the other Fate shows were done by. I like the story. I like the characters a lot, which is what's important in these shows, because besides that, it's just fighting. So they have to build characters that you actually care about and want to see duke it out. But the Fate series is a staple. A lot of people enjoy it. It's just basically battle royale, everyone duking it out, trying to kill each other. But just a very fun show. Really enjoyed it. I was surprised that the music was very good, and I was surprised that the story actually had some turns that were somewhat thought-provoking, dealing with the what are they called? The homunculus. So seeing that was really cool. Seeing an actual homunculus that was made for this whole event to be used as like basically a human battery and thrown away, and he survives, and he's dealing with that struggle of knowing that he has thousands of brothers and sisters that are being killed by the second that he has to either worry about leaving or fighting for, and just that whole story arc was very interesting. I loved the area was set in like Romania, so that was really cool, seeing all those cities and stuff like that. Fantastically fun show, and I was very critical about it earlier on. Now, the thing that I was stuck between with this, because I was stuck between 2 for 3. I was stuck between either this or Made in Abyss. And I don't really know why I went with Fate Apocrypha, because I think Shawn might have put Made in Abyss up there too. But I don't even know if he remembered Made in Abyss.
What do you mean? We just watched it a month ago.
I know, but still, you don't have your damn list ready. So that's why I went with that for number 3. Really enjoy it. It's on Netflix. You could watch it. Super fun show. It has nice nods to the other ones in the series, and it does well to explain characters that we've already come to love and see their backstories as well. So definitely a very fun installment, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Watched it with Jonathan actually while he was here a week or 2 ago. So does anyone have their number 3 and wants to give it?
I do. I got it now.
Give me that number 3.
The new season of Blue Exorcist.
That came out this year?
Is my number 3. Yeah,
I keep forgetting that they have a second season of Blue Exorcist. Yeah, there is a second season of Blue Exorcist. Okay, cool. I'll take it. I love Blue Exorcist. Still need to watch it. I need to sit down and watch it with Caitlyn.
I will tell you,
it in high school.
The first season, I need to stop you at a very specific point in the first season because there's no primer to warn you about this, and immediately start on second season because you're only going halfway into the first season to a specific point in a middle episode before a certain credits part starts, because at a certain point in a middle episode, it goes from being canon to filler.
Oh, yeah.
And the rest of the first season is filler that changes everything. So
yeah, I heard about that.
I got to stop you at a very specific point.
Oh, I've already seen all the first season.
Oh, well, I'll let you know where you're starting from then, basically.
We could watch that episode where it switches and I'll be caught up from there. Okay, that sounds good. All right. So what about you, Tyler? What's your number 3?
My number 3 was Evon Genesis. Oh, what the fuck?
You finally watched Evangelion?
Yeah, I watched Evangelion. Yeah, I was thinking that was my 2 or 3.
Now, wait.
Which version of the ending did you watch? Did you watch the first movie version of the ending, the second movie version of the ending, the redone episodes?
Did you watch
I watched all because I went.
I have watched all.
I wanted closure, and I was still kind of upset. Well, I'm saying the base show. I'm going off the base show originally. Okay, so I had heard so much about it. And just like the concepts, and of course, it's a mech. I don't know. It's not really even a mech show. Like it had a handful of scenes, but it wasn't in whole a mech show. Like it was it had a lot of philosophical elements, and especially those last couple episodes that got thrown at you. And like the fans, because I think the fans were expecting a final battle or something like that. Shinji probably pulls his shit together somehow, stops being a little bitch, and then fucking gets some. But no, all of a sudden, the whole episode, I remember listening to like the 30 seconds of that ending, and they're like, congratulations. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Well, I don't understand. What they were just like all dying not that long. What? So like, and I like the show, and like part of me was so mad at the end, like for probably a while. Like I was just like, I was so mad. Confused.
And Ray's my favorite character. Imagine how mad I was.
Yeah. So dude. I was so confused when all that stuff was going on.
Let's not confuse the audience.
And then when Shinji's choking Asuka at the end too, I'm like, I don't understand. I like
the scene where he masturbated to her sleeping.
Oh yeah,
because I masturbated to Asuka while sleeping.
Yeah, yeah. While you were asleep or while she was
while I was asleep.
Yeah,
it's just my dick has a mind of its own.
So I don't know, a very weird show, but something about it would just seem interesting. Where I was like, okay, I kind of got it, but also didn't get it. And of course, watching like the movies, because there were several afterward that tried to readapt and explain. I think what got me into the series was watching like a top 10. Like brutal anime deaths, and it was with Asuka when she just got like murked by all the fucking angels, dude. I was like, that's awesome. See that if there was more of that in the series, I mean, that could have easily been my number 1, but number 3.
Okay. If I might make a suggestion for you, since you liked Evangelion,
I'm
going to give you 2 that are a little bit easier to understand.
Hold on, I'm going to laugh because I have 2 right now that I have.
One of them is Rasifan.
Yep. That's one I have down. Is the other one Geno Cyber?
No, the other one is Eureka 7. It's spelled Eureka 7.
Hell yeah, that show's so good.
Now, listen to me. Do not watch the sequel season. It's garbage.
Oh, it's garbage, yeah.
Just watch the first one.
Okay, well, I'm going to watch it anyways. But yeah, it's on the list.
It's a waste of time garbage, though.
Convoluted.
Yep, it's on the list.
Yeah, Eureka 7 is good. I just call it
Eureka 7 and Ra Sifan both will give you a little bit of what we're talking about with Evangelion, but not nearly as
Are you sure it's not spelled like Eureka is spelled?
No, it's spelled like Eureka, but it's pronounced Eureka. Her name is Eureka.
Fucking Japanese people. All right.
Eureka.
All right. Okay.
Eureka, yeah.
All right, so number twos. So number 3 for Tyler was Evangelion. Cool. The original anime, not the movies. And at number 2, what do we have, Shawn? You have your number 2?
A Silent Voice.
I forgot about... I need to change my list. Fuck.
The Silent Voice is my number 2.
Oh, no.
It's too late.
No, it's not too late. I haven't said shit yet. I'm definitely gonna. We talked. If you want to hear, I don't know what episode it was. I'd have to go back and look. But we talked about Eureka 7 on one of our review corners, and we picked that movie apart. That movie is one of my favorite anime films I've ever seen. It is
picked it apart. We worshipped it apart.
That's what you know what I mean. But that movie is fucking phenomenal. If you're looking for something to either get someone into anime or to just enjoy with a family member, A Silent Voice or Koe no Katachi, fantastic film. So good. Really good. We're not going to talk too much about it because we had a full review session about it. But it's just so fucking good, and it has literally ripped apart my list now because I don't know what to do. Okay, now that is my emotional. That's my emotional number 1. So, but Shawn has already said it, so I'm not going to put it on my list so we don't repeat things. But that's my emotional number 1.
There's no reason why you couldn't.
But, I repeated Logan.
Fuck, man, that rips apart my list. Can I take out Fate Apocrypha? I'm gonna do that. I'm making an administrative decision. My number 3 is not Fate Apocrypha. It's Little Witch Academia, because that is like the embodiment of enjoyment and just like childlike wonder. Like it's basically Japanese Harry Potter, except a little bit crazier, and it's not as much of a well done story, obviously. But if you like the idea of learning magic and going to a school about learning magic, that's Little Witch Academia in a nutshell. It's the adventures of a couple girls that are learning how to be witches, and it is so fucking well done. The animation is glorious and fantastic. It's done by Studio Trigger. Just a wonderful show, and it like I said, it embodies like that childlike wonder of magic. And it brings
very Harry Potter, right?
That is a good show too.
It brings.
Shit, I could use that. I watched that. Shit. Oh fuck! I didn't think about that.
Yeah, we did.
Fuck.
We watched the films. It's just fantastic. There's 2.
No, I was watching the show too.
Oh yeah, the show is really good, man. I fucking love that stuff. Akko, she's my fucking thing on Discord. That's her right there, Akko, holding a gun and with glasses on. That show's fantastic. I really love it. So that's my number 3 because I bumped off Fate Apocrypha. Fate Apocrypha was good, but nowhere near as good as Little Witch Academia. All right, so we're on number 2s. Wait, you guys did your number 2s already, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 2. My number 2 is going to be Boku no Hero.
Number 2.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. Number 3 was Neon Genesis.
Oh, okay.
Wait, Shawn, you didn't say number 2, did you?
Yeah, he did. He did because he goes first.
Silent
Voice.
You
fucking
you
skipped me. That's why
he's the one that destroyed my list.
Yeah, I know. I got confused here. No. So mine. So I watched a lot of older stuff. I was going through a phase, and then this is a movie actually, but very interesting. And I think again, Kyle, you had mentioned it to me, and I eventually watched it. But Akira.
Yes.
Akira is really good.
And they're doing,
and it still holds up today.
It holds
the animation
up
is so good in that film. in that film.
And I forgot who's doing it, but there's talks
action, right?
of a live action movie.
They've been talking about it forever.
Talks of a live action.
Yeah.
No. But now it's like more greenlit than ever. I think. Like,
that's pretty
cool. Yeah,
that'd be a cool sci-fi film if they do it right. They're not going to do it right.
No, the guy who's doing it is like he's like it's in his like his type of movies. Like, how that was his name? Who the hell? I mean, it's not a super popular director, but I can't remember his fucking name.
Okay.
Whatever.
So number 2, Akira.
Yep. I'm not going to emphasize too much on it. I'm just going to say Akira.
Okay. If you guys have not seen Akira, I highly recommend it. If you're a fan of anime at all, you owe it to yourself to watch that film. It's really good.
If you like sci-fi kind of...
Yeah, if you like sci-fi too. Yeah. It also, you could see a lot of its influence on films that we see today, or even TV shows. It kind of... I mean, I don't know if it was the initial form of media to do it, but it kind of brought about the idea of like human experimentation and those experiments going amok and stuff like that. So seeing that, and then seeing stuff like not Spirited Away. What's it called? Stranger Things today. You kind of see like, oh, this was done this long ago. That's pretty cool. So. Again, I'm pretty sure it's been in like books and stuff before, but it's really cool to see Akira. And I've also heard from a lot of people that they've taken Akira and used it as like influence for film or TV shows that exist in the States today. So I can't give you exact facts on that, but I've heard it before. So,
dude, it's influenced a lot of cyberpunk.
It has. Okay, so number 2s. Shawn gave his number 2. Tyler gave his number 2. My number 2. I'm pulling it out. My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia. If you say My Hero Academy, you are a fucking pleb. That is all I gotta say, you piece of shit. Boku no Hero Academia, a fantastic shoujo. It has reignited my love. Shonen. It has reignited my love for shonen. It had become very dry for me over the past with the influx of shit that we've gotten from One Piece, Naruto, all that other stuff. And although it is a newer type of it, I love the characters. I love the focus on their relationships. I love the tale of Deku becoming stronger and learning his power. I like the fact that it's not the bullshit like you just get the power and you have it, but his power literally harms him because he has no control over it. I think that's a really cool story mechanic, and it's a good plot device as well. I like the quirks that exist. I like the other characters and their powers and how their design is based around their powers that they have. I love All Might. It's just everything. The music in that show is fantastic. It has one of the best songs I've ever heard in anime, and that's the song what's it called? You Say Run. One of the best shows I've heard in like anime in general. Like, it defines heroic attitude, and it's implemented so well in the show. It is used often, but it's so good that you don't really care because you just get to hear it again. Animation is fantastic. I will say it does start out slow, and if you're not a fan of whiny bitch boys, you will not like Deku early. I
sure as hell didn't.
The thing with Deku with me is that I was him. Like, when I was younger, I wanted to be a superhero. Now that, like, with all of my being, like, I was like mad that I had like no powers. Like, I couldn't help people and stuff like that. Like, I was like genuinely distraught about that fact. And I just slowly came to the idea of learning that, hey, that's just not possible. It's literally impossible. There's no one that has superpowers. It doesn't exist as a thing. I'd have to find another way to be a hero. And although that's not exactly how Deku's story goes, his plight was relatable to me. That issue of being told you can't be a hero and having to deal with that, especially at a young age, that resonated with me. And I felt for him. I felt like I was him. Like, I went through that same exact thing. That first scene in like the first or second episode where All Might tells him you can be a hero and Deku's crying, I was crying. Every time I watch that scene, it makes me tear up. Because that's exactly how I was. And that's powerful to me because it's something that I went through. So I can relate to what Deku goes through. And although not everyone has gone through something like that, especially something that literally brought me a lot of distress when I was younger, I can see why people will think of him as like a crybaby bitch, because he is. He's a crybaby bitch for half of the first show, and then he starts to grow. But that really, it kind of serves a purpose as to point just how fast and how much he's growing from the change that we see over the year or couple months. I don't know how long he's at this school as all this takes place, but he grows exponentially throughout the show, and you end up rooting for him so much. And then there's even other characters that you genuinely care about that you end up rooting for. Especially they have one of the best tournament arcs I've seen in shows in a while. It's done well. Little to no filler, which is something you usually don't see in shonen. And when it is done, it's usually not overblown.
I love the filler episode, man, with Frosh. She's one of my favorite characters. They're all my favorite characters, but I really like Frosh.
I don't have anyone in this show that I do not like. Like, Caitlyn doesn't like Bakugo, but I don't hate him. I have nothing against him. I can see why he is an asshole, but there's nothing telling me that to hate him for no reason, or that to not like him. I have no reason to dislike him. I think his character serves a purpose, and he's okay. She hated Todoroki until he explained his backstory, and now she fucking adores him. And although she's still all about Deku, if anyone ever like touches Deku or does anything, she is up off the couch, standing on her feet, and she's like, "Bitch, you better knock him the fuck down." And so that's
why we love Caitlyn.
The writing is really good. The characters are the best part of this, and the animation is fantastic as well. And it's just such an enjoyable show. Fantastic music, and all around a really concise, enjoyable shonen package that really is creative, and I love every second of it. I'm so excited to see more of it. I went ahead and read the manga, so I'm a little bit ahead of everybody, and I'm so excited to see how they do what we have ahead of us.
What did you think about what happens with Bakugo when he does a little bit of the turn?
It was all right. I don't want to. We can talk about it later. I don't want to spoil anything. But I enjoyed it. I think it serves a purpose. I don't think anything happens in the show for no reason.
Nope.
So it's definitely very well done, and it's awesome. And I'm super excited to see more of it. So that was my number 2. So let's move on to number 1s. What do you got, Shawn, for our number 1? We have like a limit to
Boku
how much.
No Hero.
Okay. Boku no Hero.
My number 1 is Boku no Hero for sure, all the way. The music, the characters, there are no bad characters, and to me, it's.
I like how no one has said anything about Attack on Titan.
Shonen refined. I love Attack on Titan.
I forgot Attack on Titan even happened.
I like this other stuff more. You said we're only limiting it to 3.
Yeah, I know. 3's kind of small.
Attack on Titan would be my number 4.
If it was 5, this would be a 4-hour episode. So
actually, Attack on Titan would be my 5. Number 4 is Sword Art. The movie was number 4.
Oh, that movie was really good. Like, I was genuinely surprised. It was really awesome.
It sets up the transition for what's coming and the next story arc perfectly, and you would not fucking believe what's going to happen.
How many hours is 240 minutes?
Total change.
12. That's 4 hours, right? I'm thinking, because there's a limit to Audioboom. Like, you could only upload so long of a file, so we have 4 hours. That's the longest we can go before I'd have to not be able to upload the episode. So I'm just making sure we're not passing our time. So we have 4 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
although it's not going to be a 4-hour episode.
Boku no Hero, you had your first generation or your first gen of shonen, which was fight gets stronger, fight gets stronger, fight gets stronger, flashy fireball. That's the whole thing. You had your second gen, which polished the formula up and built out on the story. Which was, your first gen was your Ranma and your Dragon Ball. Your second gen was
Dragon Ball's still sitting in Gen 1. Fucking Dragon Ball Z, man. Dragon Ball Super is garbage.
Pattern, we had Bleach and Naruto, which built on the formula and kind of added more story depth in their own ways, but still had the fight gets stronger, fight gets stronger, fight gets stronger motif. And then you had the third gen. Well, actually, let me rephrase. The second gen was also when One Piece came out. One Piece I consider it more of a third gen because it functions more like the third generation ones do, where it goes even more diversely in terms of how it handles plot and story, and it's 100% willing to go off on tangents. But that's where you have stuff like Fairy Tail and One Piece really coming to the fore, and Hunter x Hunter, which is a deconstruction if you really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And the same way that Madoka Magica is, Hunter x Hunter is a deconstruction
Hunter
of
x Hunter is so fucking phenomenal.
It's so good.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
And that's a deconstruction of the shonen genre.
The genre, yeah.
And so and after all these phases, now you've got Boku no Hero that comes out that takes the best ideas out of all of that and refines into one amazing package for all ages. Like the only thing I've seen that gives me the same kind of feels that Boku does is the original Avatar series. And on the whole, that's probably a better written show. I get the same kind of just really good vibes and really just deep, fun satisfaction from watching Boku no Hero. I will say that, God, I wanted to choke slam that motherfucker through a roof for a good number of episodes, but even now, I think that's the thing about his character. He's not a tough guy. He never will be.
He's not.
He's one of us. He's a sensitive guy. So he's always going to be a little teary-eyed. He's always going to have that softness to him, but he's maturing to the point to where when he cries or when he does express those soft emotions, it's either age appropriate, it's innocence, it's naivety, or it's the right moment. That's when somebody should be doing that.
And if you look at his character and how he developed from a young age, he has always been the little guy. He has had no reason to stand up for himself because he couldn't. He was again bullied by Bakugo. He knew he was never able to stand up to any of these people because he had no ability to. He had no powers. He never manifested any. So his whole life, he's been conditioned to stand underneath others. And he has learned, and so he's trying to break that as he gets older. And the reason he's such a crybaby bitch is because he's, first of all, thrust pretty rapidly into this, from going from dejected into happiness. So a lot of the time it's tears of joy, but a lot of his tears is because he has grown his entire life believing that he cannot amount to anything because he just doesn't have that power. It's impossible for him. He won't be able to do his life goal. But now he's recently been able to acquire that ability to do so. I understood why he cried. I think
it's more than just being a hero, too. Yeah, I think there's a lot more to it because if you really think about it, I mean, it's kind of a metaphor for any time somebody tells a kid, "You can't do this," to "You can't be this." There is a realistic expectation that the things we want to do, we're not going to be able to do. Either we're not capable, or we don't have the discipline, or whatever. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
100%,
that doesn't mean you should see something and at least shoot for it. If you miss the target, reload, shoot another target. As long as you've got the gun and you're pointing in a direction and you're firing in a direction, you're moving. But too often somebody tells you can't, and then you decide to play it safe and you don't fire at anything. And you stand in place and you end up being nobody. And that's your own fault. And believe me, I this is a nightmare that I have had my entire life. It's something I deeply understand. But Deku made the choice. He's like, I'm gonna believe, and I'm gonna still move forward, and I'm gonna try. I mean, even before he had powers, he was still applying to the Hero Academy.
Yeah.
With nothing, he was still doing it. So I mean, in that world, that's a viable career. Most people are able to do it. He's the 1% that can't, and that's the career he wanted to be an actor. He wanted to be, just like in this world. If you want to be an actress, the same fucking difference. And everybody told him he couldn't. And the people that were influential in his life either coddled him because he is kind of a mama's boy, or beat on him for it. And so it is kind of a lesson that don't let, just because people tell you can't, that doesn't mean you can't. Don't let that deter you. You should still try. And I think that that's also a good lesson.
That's another reason why I think that the moment where he, All Might does tell him that he can be one is so impactful, for the fact that he loves his mom, obviously, but the fact that she told him that it was okay that he was weak, that she told him that it was okay that he could not do what he wanted to do. But All Might straight up looked him in the eyes and told him, "You can do it." And that was the first person in his life that did that. And that, oh man, fuck, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this, but that scene is so impactful and so well done, and it shows, and I think it helps build such a relatable atmosphere for Deku, because everyone's gone through something like that. There's not a single person on this earth that has been told that you can do it from the get-go, because that's just not how people are. And it's just, and again, I understand it does drag on a bit. He is a crybaby for a bit, but I always felt like it was warranted. So I understand the other side, but I really feel like it serves a fantastic, as a tool of pushing his character into the strength that we see today of him, and him learning to cope with what he's doing and his power and manifesting it and stuff like that. The show is fantastic. If you guys have not seen it, most people that know about anime have heard it and or seen it. If you did watch a couple episodes, it wasn't for you, I recommend trying it again, at least finishing the first season and seeing what you think. I know that's a lot to ask, especially since it's 12 episodes. It's a lot of time to dedicate to something you might not like, but it's really fucking good. There's a reason so many people are all over this show, and I highly recommend checking it out. So, oh, man. Tyler, give us that number one.
Cowboy Bebop.
you recently watched that this year?
Yep, just finishing that too long ago.
Nice.
So I'm sticking with all the vintage stuff.
Welcome to the cult.
Oh my god, what a freaking show! I mean, I had always seen clips of it when I was younger on Adult Swim. Like, I'd like fall asleep to it on. It's God, that show is just, I just like the story, and I don't know what it is about also that time too. I mean, it was just such,
the music's fantastic, obviously.
It blew me away. I mean, every episode, it was like something new, and I think they made a movie too.
Yes.
I didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, the movie takes place about mid-series, or no, right after they pick up Ed 9. That's when the movie takes
Was it Ed
place.
or Faye? I thought it was with Faye.
They're all together in it. Ed's in there.
Yeah.
It takes place right after they pick up Ed. Because they get Ed and 9 together. Because Ed was in the movie, wasn't he?
But, I mean, I just heard so much about it, how, like, it was not a super revolutionary anime, but it definitely had a huge impact on multiple genres, and also just storytelling in general and stuff. And just, like, it was... Yeah. Huh?
People hadn't told a story like that in anime before. Not it was just the style and the panache, and it just had a certain something that hadn't been done in a really long time. And plus, it was a good story. I mean, it's a tragic story.
It just sucked that it was so short though too. I mean, I wanted more, because it was only a handful of episodes. It was like 10 episodes.
If you like that genre, and the way that kind of flowed, I would suggest checking out Gungrave. It's also
Trigun
extremely good.
Yeah, I've heard about Gungrave.
I was going to say also Trigun.
Trigun's really good as well. If you definitely want to stick with like retro, Gungrave and Trigun. I haven't seen Gungrave, but I've heard from Shawn it's really good, and Trigun's really good too.
Oh, it's so good.
So, all right. So
Gungrave is like if Devil May Cry and Goodfellas had a baby.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really. It sounds really good. I need to get into it. So moving forward, stay with us. We're almost done. My number one, as Shawn said before, is A Silent Voice. I don't know if it came out this year, but we discovered it this year, and like I said before, it is my favorite anime film I've ever watched. And it's just like, the thing about it that surprised me a lot is, a lot of the time, one of the quirks that people associate with anime is the fact that sometimes characters just aren't relatable, right? They either overreact to things, or they're just not realistic in the way that they interpret situations or things like that, and it throws people out. This is some of the most relatable and genuine and heartwarming content that is associated with anime that I've ever seen. And everything about this film deals with it has a positive message. It deals with heavy stuff, depression and suicide. And it, again, as well as boasting a positive message, And on top of that, it has relatable and genuine characters that it has some moments of comedy, and it's done by KyoAni, so it's fucking gorgeous. And a lot of it is just, I could explain it real quick. It's it's under the guise of a romance, but I wouldn't really consider it one, because not really
comedy.
Yeah, it's kind of a drama. Again, it deals with depression and suicide, and it's about a girl that is deaf. She's either deaf from birth, or she's had it recently happen in like the early stages of her life. And it's her dealing with this disability and going through the early years of her life and having to deal with either kids treating her differently because of the fact that she cannot hear, or bullying her, or the thing you also get to see a cool sneak peek into the look of how Japan deals with disabilities. And it's just the way that the story is set up. It's a redemption story, and it's just these characters feel real. Sadly, I can't always say that about anime, but I felt like I was just watching a really well done story. And again, I don't want to lurk on it too long because we're 3 hours and 20 minutes into the podcast, but it is I had multiple moments where I cried. It had, again, I think the best thing to describe it is genuine. I always felt like the characters had a proper purpose to what they were doing, or their motives were sound for the most part, and that reactions made sense. And I almost always have something where I'm watching a show and something would happen, and the way they would interpret a situation, or the way that a character would react to something, I'd just be like, okay, I didn't need that. That wasn't necessary. But I sat through this entire film and understood the motives of all these characters, understood how relatable these characters were. And it just pulls you right the fuck in. And if you're ready, there's not action in it or anything like that, but if you're into stuff like that, it is so engrossing. And I had so much love for these characters, and to see them going through these things, I felt like I was watching family members dealing with these issues. And you're just trying to cheer for these characters, and you want to help them. I know it sounds dumb, but it does a fantastic job of making you fall in love with these characters. And when the things that happen to these characters, it's destructive. It's destructive, almost in the way of like Your Lie in April or things along those lines.
God, that was a hard journey.
Yeah, and it's again, it has a positive story, and
plus we did a lot of really good techniques, like filmmaking techniques too, like the metaphor.
It's fantastically directed.
With the no signs.
Yeah, and the way they show the perspective that some characters have on the world around them. It was very creative, and I forgot about that entirely. It was good that you mentioned that, because I enjoyed that a lot. And also the fact that you said before, the fact that you see all of this story is told through the characters, and the adults are barely ever present, because this is their self-contained world that they are dealing with. And a lot of the times,
when you're in high school,
yeah,
how much of your high school life genuinely involved your parents? I mean, they were there. They contributed more heavily than probably anybody besides yourself, but your entire world was the other kids, was the other people, your peers. That was your whole life.
Yeah.
So that's why you see mostly that. And then like some of the other adults, the one they do show adults, it's more like the adults that still have growing to do, his sister.
Yeah. And it's just, I'd be careful if you've lost someone to suicide or depression. It might be potentially damaging, I guess. I don't know. I just want to leave things like that. Because there's
there are 2 attempted suicides in this movie.
Yeah, there are 2.
One of which is shown.
Yeah. And it's just, there are just genuine moments of, again, distraught and just very heavy emotion. And again, to say to how amazingly this is directed as well, a lot of these scenes, complete silence. They really let it sink in. They're purposely drawn out, and you see a lot of it. They want you to really understand. It's like you're right there beside them through most of these struggles. And it makes you feel like you're dealing with people that you actually know and live with. And it has a way of hurting you. It's really well done. And it's surprisingly very amazing, very pretty. When the music is playing, it's good. And again, I had a genuine love for these characters, and to see them go through this, it was a struggle. So, really liked that film. It was really good. So, I can't believe I forgot about it. We did watch it a while ago, but it's just so many things you come across. Like the movies I had to look up, I couldn't pull them out the top of my head. So that was our top threes for the year. Again, for you guys, for these topics, if you have your own top threes you'd love to share with us, feel free to drop them in comments. Feel free to hit us up on the Discord. However you want to talk to us, we'd love to hear from you guys. We'd really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up, though, because this has been probably our longest episode in the history of this podcast. But we're going to go out with a bang for 2017, although it's already over. So, so we appreciate all you guys. Thank you for making this year so awesome. I really didn't think we would have, although we're not huge or anything, I really didn't think I would ever be doing this, making content and putting it on the internet. And we appreciate all of you that have come to stick by for the ride. I want to thank everyone that has participated with us. We have Funny Guy, The Flash, the It's Obvious Gaming podcast that I listen to. Those guys are all fantastic people. And they helped me get to this spot, or us get to this spot, helping me with setting things up and understanding what to do for a podcast and stuff like that, or even give me the want to do a podcast. So I appreciate that. And all of you tuning in, although we may not know your name, we do appreciate you for tuning in. There's a lot of anonymity in a podcast and stuff like that. So, just so from us...
I know their name. I'm outside the window.
So from us to you, we hope you had a fantastic 2017. We love every single one of you guys. And here's to hoping for a fantastic 2018. So before we go, let me get a outro from my beautiful co-hosts here. What do you got, Tyler?
See you, Space Cowboy.
Oh, no! Confirmed, Spike's not dead. And Shawn, what about you?
I like how he sounded so broken when he said it, too. He's still mourning. It's still fresh. The wound is fresh. I've been there, Tyler. I was mourning Spike for a while.
He's not dead, though, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Happy New Year.
I have a little bit of weeping now.
Glad to have you on the adventure. Glad to have you on the journey. Hugs and kisses and all your pink parts. And fuck you, Star Wars. Fuck you, Bungie. I'm out.
Drop the mic.
And before we go to wrap up 2017, I shall leave you all with a thought. A group of jellyfish is not a herd or a school or a flock. It is called a smack.